Well, they've been playing with a stand-in from their academy team, but we've seen some glimmers of hope. But I don't know if it's enough hope to take out Eternal Fire.
I personally see it's going to be a difficult one, but I think a lot of people would be in the same opinion that Eternal Fire are the favorites coming into this matchup. However, you look at ENCE, you look at some Pyres who's having a really good tournament, Diha, who necessarily hasn't exploded like some people would have wanted, but I really do feel, and I'm going to back the opinion, that Hino is going to get better and better every single game he plays in this roster, and the fact that they've been playing so many together, I feel like Hino is starting to settle in a lot more, and Eternal Fire should be a little bit wary.
Guys, just overall so far, it's been amazing to see this tournament play out. What would you say your favorite moment has been so far?
That's a really tricky one, Parla. I think maybe just for a bad reason, Spirit going out. It was just it was shocking.
Yeah,
it was
could be
really,
a highlight, a low light.
It was really shocking and all kind of set the tournament on fire because we all came into this saying Spirit are kind of a slam dunk to win it, given the roster moves, given the instability of some of the other teams. And as soon as they got out of the way, everyone's kind of scrambling for like, well, actually, who is the favorite? Who's going to win this?
The fact that they fell to Movistar Rise, that was a huge surprise. So, Freddie, it can be a highlight, a low light, but so far at CCT, what's been the biggest moment for you?
I think building upon that point of Spirit being knocked out is the fact that Movistar Riders in an interview said that they came into this tournament expecting to win one, like all they cared about was winning one series, and they come away from it knocking out the champions that a lot of people would have anticipated. So I think that's definitely my favorite moment. It's just quite funny, like, and it's just quite adorable almost, being like, yeah, we came in here to win one game, and then you make it to playoffs.
Yeah. Alan and Freddie, we are now ready to get going with this consolidation grand final. Let's get into the details, starting by introducing ENCE. ENCE, calm and collected, folding them arms. We can see some of them on screen now. Sunpire sitting down, working with our admins. I think, considering all the context, ENCE are as prepared as they can be, but I just don't know if they're going to have enough against this Eternal Fire roster that's been building throughout this tournament.
Yeah, of course, we heard in some interviews that the actual warning in terms of Henu coming in and getting prepared for this team was very limited. They wouldn't have
15 hours notice.
They wouldn't have had time to do more than a couple of scrims, and even that I can almost guarantee they barely played with him at all before going into it. So they're working out a lot of things on the fly. It's really difficult in those situations. They're also saying that it's so hard for them to call their regular rounds when you're losing Valde. You know, he knew all the nades, and Henu comes in. Maybe he's playing positions he's never played before. Maybe they're moving positions, trying to make him a little bit more comfortable. Whatever they do, it's kind of a lose-lose situation, unfortunately. So yeah, for ENCE, it's just really hard to perform under those circumstances. And I'm not going to bag on Henu, but it's not a situation like they brought in. They haven't brought in a top professional player to fill in these roles. It's someone that's really taking a huge jump up in terms of playing these games.
If anything, at times we've seen that Henu has been able to step up, but it's just I don't think it even all relies on his shoulder or that shoulders or ENCE's ability to utilize him. It's just as five, as a team, they're going up against an Eternal Fire that's grown over the course of this tournament, Freddie.
Yeah, I think Eternal Fire, they've been playing a lot of games recently. I think we calculated it was 25 maps in the last 4 days. Alan, you were saying to me earlier?
23, I think.
23. Yeah. Oh, still like an immense amount. And then Parla, a conversation we were having last night, we were saying, maybe is this actually for Eternal Fire, the reason why they're doing so good is because they thrive under this environment. A lot of teams at tier 1 professional play, they like to play their one best of ones a day. They like to, or a best of 3. They like to keep it a very simple schedule, where Eternal Fire, they have been playing these games and also winning them. That's also a big difference. When you talk to players, and if they don't have enough time to scrims, but they're playing a lot of officials, and those officials are going well, that's when everything is right in the world. They've just qualified for the RMR. They went 3-1 in that, coming all the way through from the open qualifiers. In this event, a lot of people wouldn't have expected them to come out of their group, but they did. They overtook Forza, and now they're here in the top 3 position, looking to turn a lot of heads.
Freddie, since we're talking about them, why don't we introduce the Turkish Legion officially? This is Eternal Fire. Eternal Fire, will they light up the night sky or will they crash and burn? I think they are, I don't want to say heavy favorites, but to me they are favorites somewhat. I'm thinking 55-45 in their favor, maybe a 60-40.
I mean, certainly if you look at the game they've already played in the playoffs, it was pretty convincing, to be honest.
Yeah,
for Eternal Fire.
Sorry to continue quickly, Alan, but I cannot stress enough from my perspective just how well they've progressed over the tournament. I feel that they've looked better and better throughout, and maybe now they peak against ENCE.
Yeah, I mean, they're a team that's in transition. They're only going to improve as they play through games, and as mentioned, finally they get a bit of respite coming into this one, so even more time to reflect and have some conversations. But yeah, I think Eternal Fire are our favourites for this game. I do think the way it played out last time was a bit of a freak result. I don't see it being that convincing, and ENCE, as much as the standing situation limits them, I do think they have better fundamentals than Eternal Fire. I think they have better structure. Even in these circumstances, maybe they still have better structure. So yeah, it's certainly not a done deal, this series.
Freddie?
I think it's a very interesting one. We look at the Inferno, which was the first map when they played in this series, and already we were talking about Hinu. In both Inferno and Vertigo, he was playing out of positions. He was playing more of a rotate role on Inferno especially, and that wasn't even the issue, I don't think so. I think he did settle into it quite nicely. We normally, in the academy team of ENCE, see him playing as like the short anchor player on the CT side, and Diha was still playing that position, but the problem was the players like Diha and Sampius were not showing up in any way, shape or form, so you just had a big problem of lack of firepower, and there's not really much you can say about that. Like, if you were just consistently losing all your duels and Eternal Fire were running around and just killing everyone, there's not much you can really say about that, and that's exactly what we saw, I think, on Vertigo, of that it wasn't Hinu's fault. He was at the bottom of the scoreboard, but you had someone like Sampius get a little bit over aggressive. He definitely came into his own towards the end. You saw him and Madden and Diha playing really, really well, and those are the three you want to be looking at for the squad. But then Sampius getting a little bit over aggressive, doing things that maybe were losing them the rounds, and I said, if you cast your mind back, he lost them the game. He over-aggressed on the round round 30, and he lost them the game. So if he's going to be in this position again, he needs to be able to control that aggression
and rise to the occasion. Freddie, with that being said, let's take a look at our CCT head-to-head. One player from each team. We're going to bring those gentlemen up on screen now. We've got Madden for ENCE and Calix for Eternal Fire. Two awesome riflers when they're firing off, but who needs to perform to their highest today? Alan.
I think, oh, sorry.
I'll go. I think Madden's a really interesting player for this team. I think even with the full lineup, Madden is a barometer for ENCE. He's not necessarily likely to be top of the scoreboard. He's not set up to be top of the scoreboard, but when he's playing well, especially on the T side, they become so much elevated because he's in those entry positions, because he's going for map control. If Madden's finding entry kills, suddenly Snappy looks like the best in-game leader in the world. Yeah. It's so easy to call when you're just getting so many openings. So Madden's a really important player, and especially against in this sort of matchup where there's a lot of mechanically driven duels and you're going up against players like Zantares, Madden needs to be a real crispy boy today if he wants to win these fights.
Yeah, completely. And if we actually look at that Inferno game, it was a little bit too little too late from Madden. On that T side, he was just running around every single round on the B bomb site, was getting entry kills. And the reason why we've pinned these guys in the head-to-head is because, as similar to Madden, Calix is not the player you have at the top of the scoreboard. And he is still, though, a very valuable part of this squad. At the start of the tournament, he struggled to get into it a little bit, and as they've progressed, as part of the theme you were going on, the narrative of them warming into this tournament, Calix did that as well. You have Zantares, and then you have Diha on the two sides, and you have Sampius, and you have Immor, who are normally the top two of the scoreboard. But what's going to really make the difference in this matchup is the Madden Calix. Who can come out on top of that? And that's going to be the X factor for either squad.
Absolutely. When I think about Eternal Fire in this matchup, I do see them as favorites, but I need to see, you know, their top players performing. You want Zantares to have a very good game. You want Calix to be having a top game. And Immor, I had some questions with regards to him yesterday, because there were points nearing the end of their series at the end of yesterday where he was missing some shots and missing some clutch moments. And I don't think he can afford to make those mistakes against Sunpass. Like, if those three sort of like flounder, ENCE have a real chance here too. Yeah,
certainly. I mean, with Immor, I don't think it's massively out of the realms to say that his biggest failings are kind of making mistakes and fundamentals. In terms of raw mechanical skill, he's really up there. He's an incredible player in that sense, but he doesn't always play the smartest Counter-Strike. He makes mistakes, and he gives away situations, and we saw plenty of that last night. And certainly for a team like Eternal Fire, I do think a lot of the times they are their own worst enemy. They just need to stay under control and have good fundamentals, and hopefully they can build into that over the next few months with this kind of reworked system. But it has cost them so far during this tournament. Maybe sleep deprivation, maybe sheer exhaustion played a factor, but I've seen it too much over the last 6 or so months for it to be a trend that isn't part of their game. They do need to clean up their Counter-Strike.
You can almost compare that to BNE, and I think that's something coming into this tournament. A lot of teams are finding their identity, and Eternal Fire with Immor only newly becoming an AWPer as well. It's not like super new, but he's still going to take time to warm into that position. So I think a lot of the positional, like in the positioning of where he should be in the map at what time is something that's going to elude him, so he's not going to be completely adjusted to it just yet. And I think this is where some players can really capitalize upon this, because coming into this, into the playoffs, it was very interesting. We had Xantares, Immor, and Sampayos being the 3 top-rated players, and we've got all 3 of them in the server right now. And I'm definitely looking at Xantares because he's at a 1.30 rating across this tournament. He's been absolutely insane, and if Immor can just continue what he was doing, not yesterday, but every other day, this should be really good.
Okay, guys, we're waiting for our pre-match interview, so we do have some time for some more points. Any other win conditions here for either of our teams, Alan, that you'd like to see play out in the best of 3?
I'm trying to think from the ENCE perspective. As I said, for Eternal Fire, I really think if they clean up their fundamentals, they've got a really great shot of just cleaning up this series. But for ENCE,
is Veto going to be super important for ENCE?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm really intrigued to see if Anubis is going to be in this one, because it's been a bit of a double-edged sword for Eternal Fire, where on one half on the T side they look like absolutely unbelievably good, but their CT sides have been a little bit dreadful. So I really question if that's going to come out. But yeah, for ENCE, given the standing situation, given that they're playing more loose Counter-Strike, I guess you can pin more on the individuals. I think D-Har has had a good event, but he's not been unbelievable. He's not been close to Xantares' level, and he hasn't been taking over the server in the same way that someone like Xantares has. So D-Har's won. Sampayos has been playing well. He's been playing good Counter-Strike, and he's a player that loves to be, proactive and aggressive and likes to call around himself. And yes, he needs to maintain that level at least. But yeah, for DR and Sampayos to go up against someone like Xantares, they do need to be sensational today.
Yes. I'm also going to add another individual to that mixture. I think Hino, a lot of times when I was sitting him watching Vertigo yesterday, so say if Vertigo comes into the map pool, or even if Inferno does, he sometimes is a little bit slow, especially on the CT side of Inferno and the T side of Vertigo at making the decisions and rotating in. So on Vertigo, when he's playing in middle, he's playing like the passive position, I never saw him once push through anything. He never took any space. He never did something like that, whereas Valde...
Would you like to see some confidence and aggression, some risks taken from the stand in Hinu then?
I actually think that is pretty much it, because you look at what Valde used to do, and it wouldn't be every single round, but he definitely would have a little bit more flair to him and confidence pushing through middle, and especially because it was a 16-14, it was a very close affair. If one of those rounds, say, Hinu snuck in the back lines, because he'd never done it before, they wouldn't have been looking for it. He definitely could have done something a little bit more with the confidence, and the same goes for the rotations on the CT side of Inferno. Maybe just gambling a little bit more, putting a little bit more risk, high reward, and that is what Inferno is like. That's how you play the map, and he's been put in a very difficult position where that's all kind of up to him.
I think if you look at it from his perspective, you do have to remember that he's obviously not played at this level before.
Yeah.
He's getting a big bump up to essentially his idols, I expect, given that he plays for the academy team. And can you imagine the pressure of thinking, if I get too aggressive here, I could lose us the game?
Yeah.
If you're that young and you have me in those positions before. So I don't envy him.
It's difficult.
And certainly for younger players coming up, taking initiative, knowing in which situations I can make a play or what information I need to make an educated guess. That's really where all the skill is in professional level Counter-Strike. So Henu, he's doing as well as he can in situations. Yes, we'd like him to be a bit more proactive, I guess, but he's got a he got a tough gig getting called up this late.
Alan and Freddie, we can now move ahead to our pre-match interview. We've got Veracity down on the floor with xFloud and Madden.
Thank you very much for that, Parla. I am joined here by xFloud and Madden. We're going to have ENCE versus Eternal Fire going head-to-head, the winner of which will go through to the grand finals here at CCT, live from Malta. Guys, Madden, I'm going to start with you first. yesterday, obviously, Eternal Fire were facing off versus none other than BNE. Did you stay up and watch the games, and were you expecting it to be such a close game?
Yeah, I mean, we stayed whole night. I mean, during the game, we watched the whole game, and we have been fixing the stuff for what we're gonna prepare for Eternal Fire. We got a bit surprised that they picked Anubis instead of Inferno, because we thought they would pick Inferno, but we well prepared on Anubis also, so I think it's gonna be good.
Were you expecting it to be such a close game versus BNE?
Yeah, I think both teams are playing really good CS, and I think they have both great individual players that are like stepping up. So it was just a massive firepower game, and they had fun.
And how about from your perspective, xCloud? Obviously, BNE gave an incredible performance. You guys gave an incredible performance as well. We had a bunch of 16-14s, and obviously for you guys, it was quite a long day as well. Were you guys surprised with how well they were playing on your map pick of Anubis?
To be honest, we had no more time until the major comes into the team, and when we come to Malta, we had like very difficult days. We are playing here, we are going bootcamp area, we have like 6 hours rest time, ATC. So yesterday, very difficult day because we had 3 best of 3s, so it was difficult to give your focus on the game. In the last game, last map in against BNE, but yeah.
How about today? Do you guys feel well rested and ready to go all over again this time around, or?
Yeah, to be honest, finally we sleep like 6 hours, I mean 8 hours, and we are rested right now. ENCE played very well yesterday, and they have one standing player, so game was very close. Probably they will win the series or at least one map if they have a normal roster. Probably we will give our more best today because we rest. We know how important is this game, this series, so we will give more best from yesterday.
And Madden, I know my dear analysts were wondering how much prac did you guys actually have with Henu stepping in? Did you guys manage to get any scrims in on the lead up to this event?
I mean, with Henu, I don't think we didn't have a single prac, so we just maybe played like 2 or 3 faces, and that's it. We kind of were showing him some struts and stuff we had on the server, so we are like kind of more compact in a way. But other than that, we haven't played a single game with him.
And you guys said that, you know, you've kind of addressed the mistakes you noticed yourself and the team making when you played against Eternal Fire previously. Between yesterday and today, how much time have you really had to kind of put those mistakes into action and start to correct them?
I mean, we had a few hours for sure, like after the loss against them, we were talking whole day about like, because we were not sure are we gonna play BNE the first game or them. But after we recognized, we had some talks, and I think it's been enough time for us to prepare.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what it is, the tricks you've got up your sleeves as well. But before we round things out, xCloud, I was speaking to Samvita a little bit earlier. Unfortunately, it seems like the team aren't necessarily feeling the best lately. People are feeling a little bit under the weather, a little bit unwell. What kind of impact has this had on you guys? Because obviously long game days as well, and I know Calix in particular wasn't feeling well today. What's the team kind of doing to rally up alongside one another?
To be honest, as I said, we are changing too much area to play games. We are coming here, we are going tournament area, we are going with cars, so we are a little bit sick right now. Everyone has like bad weather. So Calix is feeling very bad right now. Maybe you can play against him, but I will close his gap.
Amazing stuff. That's what we love to hear, the teamwork. So really quick, what's your prediction? Do you think it's going to be a 2-0, 2-1?
I think it's going to be 2-1, but I don't know who's going to win.
Okay, how about you? Do you think 2-1, 2-0?
I think 2-0 for us.
That's the confidence we love to see. Well, best of luck to the two of you. Back over to my dear analysts.
Thank you, Veracity. Amazing in that final question. xCloud went with the humble approach, saying, I don't know who's going to win. It could be 2-0, 2-1. And manager's like, nah, we're winning 2-0.
I love it. I love it.
I don't think xCloud would be great for like those MMA pre-interviews and things like that. You know, no, so we might win, we might lose. It'll be a great game, and then your opponent rolls up, you know, pumps up like you're going to smash your head.
Might just get knocked out. Anyway, lots of amazing details there from that interview with Veracity. What was the first one that I wanted to mention? So Madden saying that they stayed up in the venue watching the Eternal Fire game, and then on the flip side, xCloud saying that they as Eternal Fire have had their first night of somewhat proper rest.
Yeah, I mean, ENCE, I'm a little bit surprised actually they didn't just go to bed.
Yeah,
it was pretty
I'm
late.
very surprised.
Pretty late ending, but they do them. I guess they knew they weren't starting today ultra early, so maybe not. I think the more interesting comments actually were about in terms of practice with Henu. Absolutely nothing. I mean,
imagine you look. Wait, I want to get both of your opinion. Imagine you hop onto FaZe it one day, right? And you're like, yeah, I just want to play some chill games of Counter-Strike, whatever, logging on, woo. And then you see like the enemies loading in, and it's like the ENCE roster, and Henu, and you're like, well, this is going to be very fun. Just get absolutely thrashed.
Well, that would be hell on earth.
Just day ruined.
Just like, well,
like,
this was my warm-up game. Now play the pros.
No, but yeah, I mean, it's a bit bonkers, isn't it? They only managed to get in some faces.
Yeah.
I mean, as Endpoint, we actually had a similar situation using Meerbit, the Stockholm RMRs. And yeah, it's pretty rough when you're playing without any practice on maps. How do you know what to veto into when you literally have never had any information on
Talking
on
about
that sort of
veto,
stuff?
you continue your point if you want, Alan, but we've also got the veto running if you guys want to get into that as well.
Yeah, I mean, these are just the permabans. I mean, spoiler alert, guys, but we kind of know what the pick is here for Eternal Fire. ENCE go for Vertigo, which they went for last time. It was a close affair, but they did lose. And there's the Anubis pick. And actually, I think they made a mistake. I mean, they should have picked into Inferno. I think their CT side on Anubis is a problem. And they have opened the door here for this to get more interesting than maybe it should have been.
Ooh, a nuke ban at the end. I think that's good for Eternal Fire. They haven't at least got nuke as a decider, because if it had gone to decider, I would have favored ENCE on nuke.
Yes.
But Vertigo, Eternal Fire, they are looking pretty good at it. We were almost slightly confused if they actually played the map, because I don't think they'd played it for quite a while. And if they had, they weren't very good on it coming into yesterday's game. And then as soon as they beat ENCE, they went and beat Insta Breach on it in the RMR qualifiers. So definitely capable on Vertigo, but ENCE, they looked really, really good on the second half on the T side, and if they can continue that, and if we can maybe see Henu, as I was saying, get a little bit more aggressive in middle, I think we could see a lot of those rounds going in favor of ENCE. But I agree with what you were saying, Alan. That Inferno, I saw that and I was like, have they just overthought themselves? Like, have they just outbrained themselves trying to throw in this crazy play and be like, okay, we're not going to pick into the map we just 16-6'd you on. We're going to pick into Anubis, which, as you were saying, they have looked partially shaking on.
Guys, the match is about ready to go. Can I push you both for some quick official predictions, starting with you, Alan?
Eternal Fire 2-1.
2-1 Eternal Fire from Alan. And what about you, Freddie?
I'm saying ENCE 2-0. I'm back in Madden.
Oh, wow,
I'm back in Madden. I really actually backed this veto for them. And, you know, Major, Calix, all of them, every time they have an interview, they're like, you know, we don't really know. We're not too confident. The first interview at the very beginning with Major, he was like, we're just kind of... We might win some games, we might lose some games, who knows? Whereas ENCE, they've actually got that confidence. And Madden, he's got experience on both these maps with this team now, and I think I believe in them.
Love to have a split analyst desk. More than anything, I think it means that this matchup should be fire. It should be competitive, and it's going to be an awesome one to enjoy and watch. It's ENCE versus Eternal Fire, and to carry us through the cast, we've got B-Dog and Sneaky Beaky-like.
Thank you very much, Parla. And yes, indeed, ENCE versus Eternal Fire, the rematch of the first best of 3 yesterday. However, we're on a pretty different battleground. I'm really surprised Eternal Fire didn't pick Inferno. Like, I don't really know what the thought process is behind it. Maybe because ENCE got really rattled on it yesterday. They put a lot more pressure on. Maybe it's a little bit of mind games, right? You go away if you're ENCE and you think, okay, if we are playing Eternal Fire, we really need to refine this Inferno. But in actual fact, they've gone for Anubis.
Well, honestly, I don't mind, because I've been wanting to cast Anubis this entire tournament, Brandon. This is probably the favourite map pool that we've had as a duo.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, we got all the fun maps in there. We got our second Vertigo first. Anubis Mirage should be a very spicy decider. And oh my goodness, we're into it. Emor finds the first frag onto Madam. And into the 5 versus 4 we go. He may have been confident in the interview, but perhaps not in the opening pistol. Henu, though, needs to swing wide here. But Emor, my goodness, catches him off guard completely. That's quite the promiscuous headshot angle, and he's looking for more. Diha alters into his crosshairs. It's not the cleanest cleanup here. But look at the rotation towards the A bomb site as Emor catches another head on the opener.
My goodness me. What an explosive way. We get thrown straight into the pistol. We get thrown straight into Emor with 3 quick kills on the dual Berettas. Now suddenly, this gets a little bit complicated. ENCE haven't actually rotated all their forces over to B just yet. But as I'm saying that, they are actually starting to make the decision over. Some Pius has now heard all this utility. He's trying to rotate over. Look at the space that Eternal Fire have gathered. I love this. Their utility deep in towards Elevator, over the Molotov for Heaven, and it allows all of this wiggle room. And as you said, let's see if he can get that ace.
Come on, opening round of this Consolidation Finals. I want to see the ace for Emort. It's on the card. Snappy waltzes into his crosshairs. Snappy is going to take him down beforehand, but otherwise a fantastic pistol round from Eternal Fire. They completely overwhelm ENCE, and with that, a good start for them. As we said, they're not feeling too well today, but hopefully that's going to alleviate some of the pressure and some of the stress.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. It's just Emor taking the initiative. He pulls all the rotates over for ENCE towards B, and then they reset. And I really like again, just to recap, the utility set by Eternal Fire, deliberately deep in towards Elevator, the Molotov in towards Heaven. It always forces ENCE back, so that means that the rotations can't really come through immediately. And Eternal Fire can establish more ground than just the bomb site itself. Forced by back in for the CT side. It's just pistols, but there's Kevlar and utility behind it.
Speaking of utility, as you said, it was great in the previous round, but it was already a 4v2 by the time it came on out. Oh, a 5v2, sorry. The Centaurus makes this a 5v4. A Deagle does spot and boost it up onto the boxes. ENCE know that there were at least 2 in towards middle. And they will be leaving a lurker in major there on the MAC-10, playing a similar role to what xFloud was doing yesterday. Oh, hello. Snappy and Emor, they spot each other for about 3 seconds before Snappy, sticking to his namesake, snaps onto the head of poor old Emor. Nice 1D, 4v4, but still a heavy advantage to Eternal Fire.
Yeah, rifle not recoverable either. Snappy just looking over the top of the one-ways. Antares knows these tricks all too well. Can he spot the silhouette? Not quite. But it is ever so close. Crosshair just trained on this position. And in fact, just the majority of Eternal Fire are also here, but Antares has just been dealt with. Snappy has taken the reins, but Major in towards middle. This could be everything. Trying to cut off the rotations, but Diha hits a slammer. This is all going pear-shaped for Eternal Fire.
And with that timer ticking on down, they're starting to panic a little bit here. They hedge their way towards the B bomb site. It's xFloud and Calyx in a 2v4. Again, none of the rifles have yet been recovered, but they've got crossfires. They've got a little bit of util left. As that bomb is planted, they can flash themselves through, but that is a nice Molotov from Calyx to deny the retake for a moment further. He is now watching behind, and that is exactly where the IGL events will be coming from. The reposition is good. He's not made noise, but if he swings this, it's a little ambitious. Snappy does go down. xFloud now has a lot to deal with on this bomb site. 3 players pushing forward towards his position. Henu falls. It's a 2-man spray down for xFloud. It's down to the 1v1. The time is ticking away. Some Pius doesn't have a defuse kit, and by God, I think somehow Eternal Fire have recovered things. A great shot there from Calyx. And it was not clean by any means, Brandon, but a necessity come the end of it.
Yeah, for sure. Gets a little bit scary there for Eternal Fire as those Deagle kills do come in, right? But the kind of an unfortunate thing is that as Snappy rotates down on the flank, he's the only player with utility. There's no defuse kits, and as a result, Eternal Fire can pick and choose when to take these fights, do it on their terms, and fortunately for them, get it over the line. So now it's a 2-0 start. And for ENCE, they've gone for a little bit of a half investment. They know how much damage they can do with the pistols, so they're going to run it right back.
I was going to say, under normal circumstances, I'd say, yeah, this should be a quick and clean 3-0. Then Zentares looks to ensure that it does result in that score. But the pistols did an egregious amount of damage in the previous. We can't entirely rule them out of doing some further poking and prodding. The Zentares now molotoving some players out of Ivy as they slowly but surely make their way up this A ramp.
Yeah, Zentares likes to throw this utility set a lot. Molotov to try and flush out the position. Sampias is now going to be supported by Diha, but doesn't even need him. 2 players on gap. This could be a little bit of a surprise for Emor, but he swings the corner, but it's Major that deals with everything. Really nice clean up, money in the bank for Eternal Fire. ENCE can now reinvest. We get the first true test for this T side. The fully invested guns here to stay for ENCE.
Yeah, as you said though, nice bit of cash farming there for Major. Finds 2 towards the short side with the MAC-10. Decides that he doesn't want to continue with it. It will be a full AK investment. This is a full gun round. There are no bonus buys here. And more importantly, Sampias has picked up the AWP for the first time.
Yeah, uncontested as well. Emor not wielding one just yet. And this is fast. Look at him just race up towards the top of the ramp. Snappy's been winning out the engagements early on here, but because of all this pressure, he's had to concede the ground. Emil's just going to go on a little bit of an adventure, walking up, trying to clear the sandbags. He can just sit here now, give over this control, ensure that Eternal Fire are aware that ENCE aren't pushing. So now they can look in towards middle, they can maybe push towards B stairs, try and push and pull these rotations.
Yeah, but they will be edging their way again up this A ramp slowly. You said Emor wouldn't be contesting, but by God does he contest early for space top ramp. Calix eats a nade more importantly though. And as they clear out sandbags, Emor clears out the site. Madden's good for a 2K spray now. Major's in for a trade. Sunfire's now with the orb activating. Catches the IGL off guard. 3v2, but through the smoke there. Taurus pushes. xCloud another. My goodness. The kill feed flooded by both sides, but it does end up in an advantage for the Turks, and Diha has to win out a 1 versus 2. Jumps on top of the headshot boxes. Spots out Santaris. Doesn't quite see xCloud though. As he deploys his smoke, he could go for the bomb tap here, but it's a huge, huge risk. Looking desperately for these two players, but look at xCloud's positioning. He's heard Diha dropping off, somehow gets behind him without being spotted, and that is another great round for Eternal Fire, and no more AWP for Sunbias.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an awkward execute for ENCE, because you've got Madden doing really good work. Some Pius also gets the follow-up, but by him putting a smoke down, it actually allows Antares just to creep through the Molotov and just backstab him. Really difficult scenario that ENCE find themselves in, and Diha can't find anything on the clutch. Tactical timeout being called immediately. Eternal Fire, this is a really good start to life on Vertigo, which coincidentally is ENCE's map pick.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we could see a little bit of map trading today, Brandon. I think my prediction is going to be a 2-1 for this series. I am going to side with Eternal Fire despite their apparent lack of confidence in that interview with Veracity. I don't think there is going to be a 2-0 for ENCE, but we are still very early doors. Have you got a prediction for yourself here, Brandon?
I think, look, it's going to be a very close game of Counter-Strike. I feel like Eternal Fire, obviously, they should be winning out this game. They've looked very good all tournament long. But I don't know. I feel like I can echo some of the sentiments that Alan was putting forward onto the desk. I feel like Anubis is a really risky pick.
Well, speaking of picks, Santaris finds the first one again in this round. It is just a couple of upgraded pistols. Molotov sails on over towards the B site, and they're looking to make this one cleaner than round number 2. Very nice 1D by Henu. I thought that one was for Sunpius, but instead he's ripped to shreds by Calix. Lovely nade as well onto Henu. The Finn will not be able to finish out this round. Snappy last alive in a 1v4, and xCloud is doing xCloud things in middle. I don't think he will need to activate this time, but he's going to do it anyway. And Snappy will go down to the mid lurk. Lovely stuff, 5 on the board. And that's 5-0 now for Eternal Fire on their opponent's map pick as they struggle to get out the starting gate.
That's a really good point as well, and something we haven't touched on. It's ENCE's map pick, and Eternal Fire chose to start on the attack, chose to start on T side.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I completely overlooked that. It's just demonstrating how confident they are on this attacking side. They let a couple of those defensive rounds slip past them yesterday.
Yeah, and referring back to yesterday as well, the first best of 3, Inferno was on that T side for Eternal Fire where they found the most success. So maybe coming out the gates early, you want to just stifle ENCE's defense. You know that it's really difficult to kind of micromanage Henu, especially, as Matt was saying, no practices, no scrims, just a couple of pugs here or there to make you feel a little bit more welcome into the team, make you feel a little bit more comfortable, right? But Henu, it's going to be his repositioning, his rotations. Needs to be done off his own back sometimes rather than Snappy pointing and choosing where he goes all round long. And I quite like this decision actually. Thinking about it more,
Nice double nades, I agree. Diha cut down to 50. He was in a similar spot yesterday, but that nade does double the damage right on back. Calix spots Henu out towards the back of B. And they'll have no information on the damage they've done to Diha. I don't think they quite spotted him jumping, and he was too far away to be heard, but Snappy, he's not too far away to start a gunfight towards the bottom of A ramp. There will be a few players here to receive him, but more importantly, Emor now on that AWP, as he has a great start to this series. He sits 7-3, and with this being, I believe, his first round on the AWP, I'm curious to see if he can fully activate on that big green after a few inconsistencies in the last series yesterday.
Yeah, new starting position for Sampayas as well, and towards middle. Major might come head-to-head with him. You see that Henu is in support. In fact, it looks like they're going to go on a little bit of a recon mission. Major could catch out Henu here, but Snappy's advanced position could really throw the round into disarray for Eternal Fire. It's a very uncommon angle to try and clear, as Sampayas will trade on towards mid. Oh, Eternal Fire, they're just creeping right past the IGL.
Yeah, Snappy, will he turn around here? Will he realise what's going on? He's now in the perfect position. They've not cleared him at all. Zentaras may have found the first kill, but Emor, my God! The 90-degree flick, the awareness from him. That is what the Emor I need to see more. Well, that's the Emor I need to see more of. As the bomb will go down, and ENCE stand no chance at all in this round. Sampayas, despite his trade being very valuable, very important, it unfortunately has no impact on the swing of the round, and D is just in the wrong place at the wrong time. As that's now 6-0 to Eternal Fire. And by God, are the Turks looking spicy this morning.
Yeah, and also ENCE are doing things very individually. There's no kind of team cohesion at the moment, what we're seeing out of them. It feels quite reasonable and free for Eternal Fire to kind of gather some of these opening kills, because they're being presented on a silver platter. Snappy, yes, it looks like he's got the backlines, but Emor does consider it. That's still a 1 versus 1. Even with Sampayas and Henu in towards mid, Henu swings a little bit before Sampayas is ready, and as a result, Major does get that kill before he falls.
And we talk about communication in teams being so important, and it is just little micro mistakes like that that really can put a round into disarray. Obviously, Henu normally communicating in Finnish with his squad. It's going to be a bit of a challenge transitioning into English with, again, 15 hours of notice and 3 Faceit bugs. I'm not entirely sure what Faceit maps they were even playing, but if that ELO's anything to go off, it was probably 3 rounds of Mirage.
Yeah, probably. Another one.
That's
Three tactical pauses already in the first half being expended. We're not even 10 rounds in to the game. There are troubles, there are cracks beginning to show in this defense for ENCE, and Saw really wants to hammer home the point that we know what we're doing. We went away, we worked on our mistakes, and cast your minds back to Vertigo yesterday. It was so close. ENCE did really well on that T side. Late A executes were Eternal Fire's downfall when it comes to their structure and comes to kind of identifying those issues. But if ENCE don't achieve anything on this first half, then they don't really give themselves too much opportunity to work with moving forward.
I mean, I do think they're rattled already, though. I'm honestly shocked that we've seen 3 tactical timeouts called here. And I'm even more shocked that the odds still favour ENCE in this one. 1.89 to the 1.93. I know there's a disparity in rankings, but not a disparity in kills in this round, at least, as Sampayas does open things up onto Zentaras. An important piece of the puzzle to be removing. Alex on the flip side of the map slowly edges his way up towards Diha and Henu's positions. A nice little flashbang as he checked the corner, not properly. And there is no trade there either, meaning it's a 2-man advantage now for ENCE.
Yeah, much better for ENCE. They get the opener. And also the follow-up, choose that haphazard clear by Calix. Reset in towards B stairs because Eternal Fire don't really have any control apart from this portion of the map. Henu is actually the sole defender here. Everyone else is quite spread out. ENCE actually rotated a 3rd player to try and reinforce A, but nobody's home. With 48 seconds left. It looks to be this commitment. Emor's searching with the scope. Henu actually finds him. That's perfect. Swinging out from the double box. Good damage as well. One towards Major. And here comes the cavalry. Everyone is here from ENCE ready to stand and receive.
Yeah, that's really clean from Henu. That frag effectively secures them the round. It could have gotten a bit dicey because of the over-rotations towards A. But with that, ENCE, they rotate out of this round back into their spawn. Major looks to hold that AWP on over for the likes of Emor. And they want to keep that armor, keep that weaponry, keep that utility. As their money, well, it's good for now, but they can't afford to let it spiral. 6 rounds on the T side is already a good scoreline, though. But I reckon with Eternal Fire picking into this as their opening half, they're going to be looking for 9 or 10 against what is a weakened ENCE.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the opportunities are there, and we've already seen the holes in the defense that Eternal Fire have been exploiting. I also want to, again, recap on what we saw yesterday in the best of 3, specifically on Vertigo T side. xFloud was getting a lot of leverage, going through mid really late into the rounds, and there was this one round in particular that Eternal Fire could even potentially throw out this half, where they executed onto B with about 20 seconds left, threw so much utility to cause carnage, and xFloud was in the back lines, found the gap over towards middle, and just cut down the defense in 2. ENCE can't allow that sort of mistake to happen again.
No, they certainly can't, especially a 5-round deficit. At least Snappy's being a bit more proactive here. Cuts off the bottom of a ramp with a smoke. Sprays down Major and Emort. Not much damage, but it at least scares them away. But Xantares,
Wow.
by God, he's not scared of a solo mid-peak. Madden and Henu, they're the perfect setup, but oh, it was just free reign for Xantares, it seems, as he makes that mid-take look incredibly easy. The B-bomb site now completely barren of defenders. Bomb goes down, and Snappy and Sunpires, what can they do but run away?
That's really rough for ENCE, because it looked like they had a really good variation. Snappy was putting well-timed utility down. The Incendiary dismantled the boost of Eternal Fire down towards A. He's been doing really well at just holding A ramp basically by himself. The double setup on towards mid should never, in all honesty, fall. But it's a player like Xantares, it's his caliber that is able to disrupt it. It's a layered peak. They're on different verticalities on Vertigo, and they are still being shut down by one man. It is audacious. And off the back of it, Eternal Fire hits 7.
It's not the first time he's done that on Vertigo either. Honestly, that's more impressive than his wallbang spam. That's a bit of luck. That was all skill from Xantares there. Hopefully we can see that one on the replay, because that really was a wild double entry. There is no way in hell ENCE should have been giving up more than a single kill without a trade there. But again, the nerves of Henu and the speed of Xantares, it's just too much for anyone to handle. We've not really seen too many Xantares peaks, at least before the playoffs in this tournament. But oh, as he's really warmed into it now, as his rating starts to stack up again, he's proving why he is such a formidable, world-class player.
In Calix, he was representing Eternal Fire in our 1xBet head-to-head. Was a real standout player on Vertigo, but he's not even been needed yet. Everyone else is stepping up in a ridiculous fashion for Eternal Fire. For ENCE, again, it's a different position. It's 2 players out towards B. D-Hell looks to take first contact on towards double, but where's the trade spacing? That's where it gets a little bit difficult, because Henu's actually repositioned away. He's now by the generators. Here comes all the utility. D has just caught off guard. And Henu, he's now completely isolated on this bomb site. Flashbangs rain on over. Madden at least is here temporarily. A good incendiary to kind of funnel them away, but Xantares with the trades. Madden's doing everything for ENCE to try and keep them alive.
Xantares running out of ammunition, forced to reload towards quad. Big nade onto him, and Snappy a bigger kill. Madden finds one more to Vitali, leaving Emort in a 1 versus 3. Finds the first, repositions, looks in towards Sunpires, actually gets tagged here, and does not stand a chance as Madden finally takes the space required. That gets very, very dicey. Henu lucky not to go down to the utility behind the side boxes, but after all of it, it is still an ENCE round. I definitely think that should have been Eternal Fires, but it is a nice stabilization and a great recovery, especially from Madden.
Yeah, what a round from Madden. He does everything. He stays alive. He gets the opening kills just as Eternal Fire try and flood in towards the bomb site. He refroze the utility to disrupt Xantares. And it was him on Inferno on that T side. When ENCE were winning rounds, it was because of Madden. And he's already starting to show that impact. ENCE can still build back into this half, remember. There is plenty more Counter-Strike still to be played. As we enter round number 10, Sunpires just holding in case Eternal Fire wants to try the one-way.
I think the most concerning thing is, though, despite ENCE winning that round, Eternal Fire is still only 1 away from winning out the half, and we're into the 10th round of play. Snappy, though, as you mentioned, been very proficient at holding down ramp, at least for now. Eternal Fire haven't really even given it a go, but they're abusing what they consider to be a weak point on B. Henu and D have not been performing very well at all. D has gone down multiple times without finding a single kill. And the Academy player, well, at least they've been finding it easy to disposition him. Now, as Eternal Fire position themselves, what appears to be another B hit. Bomb has rotated over. And Major is just being a cause of distraction towards the opposite bomb site. Xantares distracted by a team flashbang there. Does get up towards white box and is at least safe from the crosses of Diha for now. That Molotov though, that's a bit of disruption.
Keep your eye on xCloud. He's in towards middle again. Currently is being held by Madden. Eternal Fire, 30 seconds left. Gathering once again. 2 players are still on A right now for ENCE. This is really not the most reinforced positions. Xantares does find Diha. In comes Madden's reposition, and now xCloud starts to make his move. But it might not even matter. Xantares finds everyone on the bomb site.
That's ridiculous from Xantares. That second frag should never have come on out. And the third is even more egregious. ENCE, their positioning is all over the place. And Diha again just doesn't anticipate the white box position. Swings too far right, thinks he's going to take contact from the staircase, and instead gets his head ripped to pieces. But again, Xantares' perfect positioning. They thought the Molotov had flushed him out. They thought they forced him back, but no. He forces them out of the bomb site entirely as an individual. And that is 8 on the board to Eternal Fire. And it's a flawless round to add insult to injury.
It really feels like there's a breakdown of communication on this B bomb site, because Diha, under normal circumstances, would not be swinging that far wide. You got to have a really good understanding, especially when you're holding these crossfires, and one step too far costs ENCE the entire round. This is a demolition job right now from Eternal Fire. It is ridiculous how much space, how much real estate they're allowed to control for basically 0 to minimal resistance.
And you know what the most concerning thing is, Brandon? They've already called 3 of their tactical
Exactly,
timeouts. So
yeah.
they can't call another one here to mentally recover from what was a mental play from Xantares, but they're going to call one anyway. That is all 4 timeouts used for ENCE in the first half, and we barely hit double-digit rounds.
And if you are calling all 4 in the first half, then something is seriously missing.
I mean, this is their map pick as well.
Yeah.
Eternal Fire have looked to surprise and seize upon their weaknesses, and again, it's a weak performing Diha, it's an outpositioned Henu. They are smashing through them time and time again, with a little help, of course, from Xantares being on fire.
And then I, again, think back to what was working. Do you remember when ENCE were winning all of those T rounds in a row? Eternal Fire were being really respectful and conceding the space. They only started winning Vertigo when they started being a little bit more proactive. They started pushing the extremities, getting aggressive in the face of danger. Now it is the time for ENCE. Try and take some control. We've not seen them really test the limits of ramp, really push down B stairs, closest as we would, and that was from Diha.
I mean, it's like Freddie said, Henu especially is afraid to push the extremities, but that shouldn't stop anyone else on the side from doing so. Snappy, he's managed to make it up to the smoke at the bottom of A ramp, but he's not gone through it yet. I think we've had 1 flank this entire game, and it was in a post plant, which they end up losing. Major, lucky to be alive here with a couple of his squaddies. The AWP narrowly misses, but Snappy does not. That's the first opening kill we've seen from ENCE in a little while, as they do look to lock down this A bomb site. Calyx continues up the ramp, though, does have that bomb in tow. Xantares will be edging his way up behind him. They're unsure. That's bad communication. They just Molotov the smoke. That's a waste of utility. Only got a single molly left now, and they might have to expend it again. xCloud, though, doing xCloud things in middle as Sumpire is forced back by a Molotov. Xantares has a little bit of tickle damage to him. Isn't able to clear the close corner, though, and the wallbang spam. They've watched their demos. They're not standing in a position to be affected by it this time.
Yeah, Xantares throws that Molotov each and every round, trying to disrupt the short presence in towards Gap, but Snappy stands stronger. xCloud, though, found some pious. Look at the gap he's found in towards mid. Defense being cut in half, but Snappy, 3 kills on Gap. It is perfect, and throws Emor into a 1 versus 3. 10 seconds. There is no time to put the bomb down on the bomb site. ENCE just about survive.
Honestly, Emor should probably just go down at this rate, or at least deal some more economic damage as he does. Diha falls, that's a big kill to find, and another one goes down. And look at the anger, that's a desk slam on the cameras there. They could not afford to lose that weaponry, but they do it regardless. And so whilst it's not a round win for Eternal Fire, they do at least win the economic game.
And it's a really hard fought back ENCE round win, but look at the amount of damage. Again, xCloud on this flank finds the perfect timing just to swing through elevator and dismantles ENCE. It requires Snappy just to stand his ground and deliver a multi-kill.
Yeah, he does exactly that as Sunpius now looks to do the same. It's a dangerous position, but Emor above the sandbags. That is meticulous. That is miraculous. The second one coming through as well. Snappy has also been cut on down. Emor, by God, 3 entries towards 8, and he's looking for even more. Henu isolated in middle, fears for his safety. Emor a menace here. He's just farming. He's absolutely farming, and that was a gun round, a full investment from ENCE. He makes it look like they just had P250s.
The pace change was perfect. Sunpius now looks to reposition in towards the sandbags, gets naded, gets forced into the headshot angle. And from there, it's just all Emor. 14-5 right now, having an incredible start to life in this series. xCloud gets rid of Diha. Can he remove Henu? Maybe not right now, but the rest of his team are going to start encroaching on Henu's position. They want to make sure he doesn't get a chance to bring forward the M4. Nothing saved, nothing gained. It's all Eternal Fire.
X is going to give it to you. Whether or not that's Centaurus or xCloud is yet to be determined as the rounds come in. But by God, Emor. His entering there, that first kill to Sunpius, it was just rude, it was brutal, Brandon. As it's a complete quick cleanup. 9-3 right now for Eternal Fire. And they look to only continue on to double digits here. It's 4 USPs, a Deagle on Diha. Combined, Henu and Diha have less kills than the IGL in Snappy, and Diha is their star player.
And the reality only gets worse. It's just USPs. Centaurus, lucky not to be caught off guard, but my goodness me, doesn't he adjust well? Emor with the rest, the stack completely dismantled. Yeah, it was just USPs, but no kills at all. That one just feels really hurtful for ENCE in terms of the confidence boost in xCloud. He's always in mid. He'll always catch you in transition. That is double digits for the Turkish side.
I mean, forget USPs. We're going to have to call UPS. Eternal Fire, they look to send ENCE packing. Really solid stuff through and through from the Turks here, and they only look to continue to spiral on a very upward trajectory.
This is devastating. And ENCE are really running out of time. Now the best number of rounds they can achieve is 5. And based on how they're playing, I don't see them going for the same proactivity. I don't see them going for these gunfights, trying to take space, trying to be a little bit more confident. xCloud and Emor think that might be the case. That's why they're double stacking in towards mid.
Yeah, they're holding for aggression, but the aggression isn't coming. Henu again sits patiently, this time towards Guardian. Sunpius is in a position where he can knock down middle as well. We've not actually seen a full mid execute very much in the past 2 days from either of these teams. And now would be the perfect time to bring one out. There is a crossfire, but that's immediately dismantled. The Molotov is perfect. Sunpius misses a shot. I didn't realize he's not even on his trusty AWP. And Major, oh my goodness, he has a lot of trust that he's not going to get mown down there. Fully blinded, cut by a Molotov. Diha chimes on in as well. And I did say I wanted to see a mid-play, but that gets quite messy for Eternal Fire. And I think that may also have been a team flashbang as Henu mows through Centaurus. Emor follows through with a trade. Emor finds 2. No way has he just made this round a possibility. Sunpius, it's a lovely spray through the smoke. But xCloud does have the bomb down, but also has Diha flying around the edge of the building. And it will at least be 4 on the board for this ENCE side.
Yeah, it will be. Nice little crossfire being established by ENCE as well. Major gets a little bit overzealous. You can kind of understand the intention he's trying to provide. Running through the Molotov, just trying to create enough space and distraction for his teammates to run over Guardian and drop into the B bomb site. Issue you've got is they don't do that. It's only one player. They get stifled by the smoke as well. And ENCE are able to hold on. There's too many crossfires for Eternal Fire to contend with. But again, it's still 4 rounds. That's the main point, right, Tom? It's the fact that 5 is a minimum. And 5 honestly feels like a premium for ENCE, which is horrendous given the circumstances.
Yeah, again, it's their map pick. It's the defensive side. You're meant to be, well, this is meant to be their preferred side as, hello, Major now edges his way up the B stairs. They will leave a close angle. They know D has been there before. They've eliminated that possibility early doors, but they are applying increasingly less pressure. As I say that, an aid is whipped on out, but Diha looks to get up close and personal. Will we see any fancy antics from him? Perhaps a swing, a push? Well, instead he extinguishes the Molotov and he's immediately extinguished by Major. A lovely opening kill again for Eternal Fire, and the hopes of 5 for ENCE are dwindling, which is a very depressing sentence to say.
And now everyone's starting to push and be a little bit proactive. You can see some Pius in towards middle is giving it a look in. Henu at least is staying a little bit further back, but Snappy is up on over. That's going to be the next point of contact, just tucked in here. Down by the tarpaulin, Zantares gets removed. Okay, that's a good find. And Emor next to the chopping block. Snappy trying to do everything for his side, trying to keep them so involved. Another headshot deletes Calyx. Let's move to the USP. Why not? xCloud, such low HP. 35 seconds, 3 versus 2. But as the rotates move over towards A, Major starts to make his move up the B stairs.
Yeah, Major could just about find himself an empty bomb site. Henu's not even looking in the right direction here. Have they found the perfect timing? I think that they might just have, as long as Major continues to look the right way. He's done it. He's cleaned out the bomb site. He's confirmed it. The plant will be coming on in now. And they will have no idea that Major's up this close and personal, but Henu readjusts in the nick of time. They can't afford to let this round slip by them. Snappy, he's done so much. He's leading the charge from the front. And as xCloud holds the wrong angle, Sumpire swings on in and swings the 5th at least into their favor. But it was by no means pretty. It was off the back of a very much individual play.
Yeah, for sure. And I actually really like that reposition from Henu. He just goes, okay, if they do come B, we're going to play retake. We've got the numbers in our favor. We don't need to give them these one-on-ones, and it's one hell of an adjustment on towards Major.
Yeah. Do you think that was a slight overextension from Major there?
Yeah, for sure, right? It's playing on confidence. It's also playing on the fact that he doesn't see anything. He wants to take as much space as he can. Because if you catch one player off, suddenly you get thrown into a 2 versus 2. But yeah, a little bit too far forward for my liking. But regardless, ENCE, they're giving themselves something to work with. 5 rounds, considering how dominant it looked from Eternal Fire. We always put a lot of onus and responsibility on these pistol rounds, but genuinely, if ENCE secure this, they start gaining the momentum, they start feeling a little bit more warmed up into the server. This game has definitely got the legs to it.
I mean, it was a very close series yesterday, in which Eternal Fire was leading for the majority of the first half, and then ENCE actually come back and get to a 12-11 scoreline. And that's when it clicks for Eternal Fire. Yeah. That's when they start playing more proactively. And I mean, I remember Major's flanks were pretty much what were winning them those last 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, for sure. And it was Calyx taking control down towards the B stairs as well. I mean, he was a really dependable B anchor. And I wonder if ENCE are going to learn from yesterday. Hello,
that's
LEDs. Cool. That's part of the construction work here on Vertigo.
Well, hopefully this round will be fun to deconstruct as the Pistols ebb their way towards a ramp. Zantares' first point of contact. Odds now fairly heavily favouring Eternal Fire, but will they stick that way for long? Again, this pistol could really get ENCE right back into the runnings. They just need to make sure they capitalise on it. Madden finds the first kill. It's a promising start. Then Sarah's forced into a reload as Sumpire gets the bomb down. Now, we've talked about Major's flanks. Will they be expecting them? Well, they won't be expecting Calyx on the Julius to be up that close and personal. Major finds one on the flank as well. Diha does at least find a trade. Bomb is tapped. Calyx looks the bodyguard, as does Zantares. Madden, my goodness, gets his head ripped to shreds. Great shot by xCloud, and Calyx pressures Henu into oblivion. With that, Eternal Fire, they're starting to roar, and they pick up an 11, denying ENCE an easier comeback opportunity.
So much confidence flowing on this Eternal Fire side. Much different pistols, what we saw from ENCE yesterday. Rather than a mid to A, it's just a straight one up towards Gap. Get the bomb down at the very least, but I like the fundamentals from ENCE starting off that after plant. Swinging on towards Major after he took the contact, and from there, Zantares and Calyx just do the rest. Defuse locked in. Eternal Fire continue to build.
Yeah, I mean, this construction project for Eternal Fire evidently working wonders. Bit of a miss Molotov there for Calyx. He wanted that one to land a bit deeper, and because of it, well, actually nothing's going to happen. The A ramp is going to be where all of the presence of ENCE is put forward to. Emor puts himself forward, finds an opener onto Madden, and can he find Snappy as well? Not quite. Pius actually follows up. This will spurn a fast rotation. xCloud, he just needs to survive for as long as he possibly can here. Does find himself a safer avenue as a nade finds a lot of damage onto ENCE there.
Oh, they've got no idea he's there. He hasn't revealed his position yet. Empire's playing anti-flash, and he's just going to walk straight past him. Oh, it's a bit messy. But xFloud does secure, and that allows the space for Eternal Fire to try and gather themselves back in. They've got plenty of utility, smoke grenades, but no defuse kit.
And also, they've got a man down now on the side of Eternal Fire. Major looks to clear that same avenue, but Snappy's already readjusted himself. Goes for the wallbang spam as Major picks up a Galil. The biggest problem here, there's no defuse kits on either Major or Calix, so this round's already been won out by ENCE. They do at least find their 6 with a force bite, and that, in fairness, is better than winning the pistol.
It's a lot of damage.
He does go down to the bomb, though.
Explodes after the bomb. That's 2 Galils that have now been dropped, but more importantly for ENCE, it's the round. But immediately we're starting to see the comparisons. Eternal Fire very keen to fight for this ramp control. Emor already down the base of it with the MP9 as he finds the opener. But Xantares just gets removed by some Pious.
I think the most important thing about that kill onto Xantares is the amount of utility that he was still holding when he fell. He had a Molotov, he had a smoke, and I'm pretty sure he had a frag grenade. All of those could have been so useful in that A-ramp defense, but he's not given the time to expend them as Snappy. Oh my goodness, wastes no time in expending Emor. They stand on top of each other. They form a human totem pole before Snappy adjusts himself and realizes what the heck is going on. Snappy, another opener towards the top of A-ramp. This man in this series has been the king of A-ramp and one of the crucial pieces of the puzzle for ENCE, keeping them even competitive, as that is a flawless round despite there being a rival on the Eternal Fire side. I was just so fixated by Snappy.
Yeah, I mean, he's been really the shining beacon for ENCE. The only real kind of player to produce significant impacts. Again, we see the follow-up here on towards xFloud and Xantares. And it kind of bears a lot of familiarities to another team we had in the tournament, right? Movistar Riders. Highest rated players, their IGL, Alex. And the biggest question mark was, well, can their pieces step up and rise to the occasion? Here for ENCE, we know that they can.
I mean, if you look back to the earlier games of Eternal Fire, Major was one of the highest rated players, going wild against Honoris. And the opener of Bad News Eagles, Xantares. That's a bit messy from Henu. Only finding one there as xFloud dinks him down. That's a Molotov and a Galil retrieved. Calix a Deagle.
Yeah,
by no means do I think they're going to win the round.
No,
but
it's fine, right? He's got 1 kill at the very least, although Emor shouldn't be finding that kill on towards Snappy. You get the information. ENCE can start to make their move up towards A. I was going to say they can establish some good afterplants, but with that Snappy overextension, it still looks a little bit dicey. Some Pious at the very least is holding for the flank. Has been deep though, without a kill. Calix with another. Oh no! This has got very turbulent very quickly. Madden tucked in towards Sandbags, deals with the first threat, but they know exactly where he is, and they found him out. Is there enough time? I'm not too sure. It's going to be incredibly close without the defuse kit. Major just going to have to hold on and hope and look at the wires. I think he might just have not enough. Madden just about survives. ENCE, my goodness me, do you want to throw that round away?
It was just pistols coming in, if I'm not mistaken, 4 USPs and a single Deagle. And Brandon, you were calling me crazy for getting hyped into this one, which in fairness, I was. But Emor, that second kill, it's lovely. Never should have been afforded it. It's an overextension in the post plant, and xFloud and Calix, a USP and a Deagle make this round so damn competitive. Major, he is within a second of defusing that bomb. Eternal Fire, I don't know how the hell they do it, but they brutalize ENCE, and they will have them feeling very uncomfortable coming into this next round.
Oh, it's a big sigh of relief, but should never be getting into that circumstance. Change of direction for ENCE. Not every member of their roster is having a look in towards A. It's Diha to find the opener, a critical one on towards Calix, who's been such a thorn in their side yesterday, especially over at that B bomb site, dealt with, removed. Emor, by the way, he's on 20 kills.
Yeah, he had a 2 KD in the previous round, which is just nutty, as he continues to pick up where he left off before yesterday's final series. Again, it is like an allergy for this Eternal Fire squad. Hopefully they're not feeling their illnesses too much today. As was alluded to in the pre-game interview, 3-round lead for Eternal Fire here. Still a lot that can be said for ENCE, and with their man advantage, they look to again capitalize towards the A bomb site. Xantara has not had very much impact at all on this CT side, as Diha rips his head clean off. Emor does trade quite nicely, but Henu's just found the B bomb site, and with that, it's completely open. Spurs the rotation into motion. Major does get there in time to receive, but now ENCE have options. And a very open bomb site.
There we go. There's that lurk play from Henu coming right in. So much attention has been delegated to A because of the ENCE overwhelm immediately. Henu with the follow-up. That is absolutely perfect. Spurred on by the opening kill from Diha. I really like the idea and the invention, though, for Eternal Fire. We've seen a lot of teams do this now with the utility being thrown as that smoke wall over towards A. Xantara's Emor, they're playing ahead of it. They're trying to get the jump on ENCE before the execute can even come in. But despite having that forward positioning, Henu still finds the gap.
Yeah, and with that, well, you've got to mind the gap between the ENCE train and the platform, because they're now ploughing through Eternal Fire's defenses and really racking up a round count. Only a few between these two teams now, and Eternal Fire evidently showing signs of struggle, as a tactical pause is required. Major won't at least be left hanging in the fist bump. You can still see signs of tiredness across the Eternal Fire camp, something that evidently doesn't affect the ENCE boys in the same way. Of course, they have just qualified to the RMR, which is a massive achievement yesterday, and the fact they even showed up the way they did to the final series is all but impressive. Well, very impressive, in fact, for the Eternal Fire boys. They just need to show up a few more times. There's 2 more best of 3s to play today, should they win out this one. And another chance at revenge against, effectively, their arch nemesis at this point. Doesn't look like they'll have too much to do in this round, though, as D here is apparently significantly better on the B bomb site on the T side rather than the defense. And with that, MOUZ down 2 on the opener, and Tara's and Emor definitely wanting to save here.
This second half has started off in exactly the same manner as it did yesterday. Eternal Fire get the defuse on the CT, and an ENCE with 5 in a row on that T side.
There, it got to, what, 12-11 before Eternal Fire finally woke on up. And for their sake, I hope that's not how it goes down again. Emor, hoping he doesn't go down, needs that AUG. It's an expensive purchase. I'm sure he wouldn't mind an AWP instead of it, but that's besides the point at the moment, as ENCE, more money, more rounds, and a flawless round at that.
Yeah, this has been a really nice resurgence. T-side really entering a flow state almost for ENCE. Roobet can now come in, potentially, for Eternal Fire. Although that was Orgs and upgraded pistols, so they might not have too much money thinking about it. Definitely got the loss bonus. And yeah, okay. No, they do have it. It's all good.
Yeah, but what's not all good is the fact that ENCE keep streaking rounds together. They finally need to put a stop to this. And bearing in mind this is ENCE performing even with some Pius, not really joining them on the scoreboard. It's good to see that they can do it without him. Henu actually one of the ones leading the charge here. Good bit of utility usage again there by Eternal Fire. Does at least force the ENCE offensive back behind the smoke. Emor has a little bit of a one-way in his. Won't be pressured, at least for now.
It's nice from Calix. Taking control towards the B stairs, allows another rotation for Eternal Fire over towards A. Xantara's with the one-way, trying to join forces with Emor and xCloud, trying to peek on through, trying to get any semblance of opportunity for an opening. Emor, I think, just dropped another one-way.
Yeah, that's actually a much better one. He can
gross.
see all the way down ramp. Molotov dropped. Buys a little bit of space for Xantara's to swing. They know at least close sandbags is clear. Nobody's been sneaking on up, but Madden sneaks a smoke down. That immediately draws Emor's attention back. The one problem I've got here is that the time is ticking a bit. Calix, though, still sits patiently behind a defensive smoke, or in front of it, I should say. As Henu lurks towards this B bomb site, Xantara's not looking to lurk around in the shadows anymore. Will he win out this very important opening duel? Yes, he will. Henu won't find an open B bomb site this time. And as time ticks on down, that's a 2-man advantage to Eternal Fire. And this round is looking much more solid for them.
Yeah, and again, look, they're playing in front of these smokes. However, Snappy and some pious combined with some kills. Diha, can he get this trade on Santaris? He can. And the follow-up onto Emor. It just throws Calix into the 1 versus 2. Bomb has to go down right here, right now. The nades, they are burning some pious, but he is managed to put down that bomb. Now Calix can try and slink his way forward. No defuse kit, no more utility. Creeping, crawling, trying to isolate angles. Sandbags, ramp. That's where ENCE occupy, and without a kill presented, he's going to fall back and retreat. ENCE survive. The trade spacing just about gets them over the line with limited time left, and they are going to tie up the game.
Yeah, D has dastardly double, incredibly impactful. As I can't quite believe my eyes here. Eternal Fire. Where is the fire gone? We need a new spark in this second half. And I thought that was going to be the round to do it. But with the equalizer coming on through, they look lost. They look a little dejected. I hope they call another tactical timeout here. Because at this rate, they really need one.
Yeah, momentum definitely not with Eternal Fire. This was so close, by the way. The HE followed up by the Molotov. If that was half a second earlier, there was a potential for some Pius to burn alive, and that would have been the round completely going the other way.
Yeah, if only the util had gone the other way round, in all honesty. Deny the plant with a Molotov and then follow up with a grenade to kill him on the retreat. But with that,
good point.
2 timeouts called. And yeah, what's done is done. Calix won't be able to go back and replay that round. In all honesty, Brandon, as much as he does his job well in that round, he cuts off Henu as the B lurker. He's not had a very impactful game so far. I think Calix's current scoreline is 8-9.
Yeah, definitely not the same beast we saw against ENCE yesterday. I'm hearing some keyboard click-clacks, which makes me wonder if that's going to be something a bit more than just a tactical.
Well, in that case, Brandon, I think that might possibly be the case. No, we're going straight back into
We're
it.
fine. All
It's okay.
good.
We've got PTSD from earlier in the week. But Eternal Fire looking to ensure their lack of sleep doesn't catch up with them here. As their lack of rounds, well, it's about to. ENCE evening up that scoreline, will be up against another full buy, or as best a full buy they can muster for Eternal Fire. Xcloud has no utility and a FAMAS, and what have I missed?
Zataras looked to line up a nade onto Snappy, and he just threw it straight off the building.
Oh no. That would have actually done significant damage as well. Snappy was in the perfect position for it. Zataras can't afford to overextend here. He won this fight out last time, but Snappy, he's waiting for the swing, and he's got support. Edge of Snappy has been spotted. Diha actually takes a lot of damage there instead. But Zantara staying alive is very, very important here.
Look at these repositions as well. More flashes being dropped forward. Eternal Fire wants to stand and fight with Major and Zantares. The gap control has been conceded, at least temporarily. Just over this one way, Madden does find Zantares, and Major is now in the fight.
Yeah, Major and Xcloud have so much to do. They need to multi-kill and they need to stay alive. That Molotov, though, it's brutal. Forces the FAMAS player completely out of position. Calix is blinded. Major does at least find one, though. Xcloud another. Diha picking up an AWP is doing a lot, but so is Madden. Calix and Emor, they need this round. They need to get something done here. They switch out weapons according to HP bars. As that bomb is planted, again, there are no defuse kits. They need a kill, and they need one now. Otherwise, this will be 12-11 to ENCE. And Emor, it's a lovely frag onto Madden, but it still might not be enough. Oh, they've got a kit. Emor's found a kit towards the short side. This round is now back in contention. Diha and Henu, though, they're not giving up a sound cue. They're not giving up a thing. Emor sticking the defuse here. Pros don't fake, and somehow... Wait, no. Oh my god, the defusal is denied with half a second remaining. Calix, there's no time left for him to do this. The AK's retrieved, but Henu, he's picked up the round just by the nature of sitting still on ramp.
Oh my goodness me. How on earth have ENCE won that one? How has Calix not found the defuse kit in the smoke? He's searching around for it. He's on his hands and knees scrabbling, and he can't find it at all. And how costly could that round prove to be? Look at this. You feel it's a little bit one-dimensional because, again, Eternal Fire all in the same positions. They're stacking players in towards Gap, and they are being lined up and knocked down. And Emor, this is within milliseconds. Look at that.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness me. Eternal Fire take another pause. And remember, ENCE don't have any left in case they lose any more rounds.
I thought I was casting the end of the round there, Brandon. I thought Eternal Fire had gotten the defuse, which is why I was so stunned. But yeah, he goes down with less than half a second on that bomb defusal, and that is going to be a crushing blow to Eternal Fire. I imagine the diffuser felt the same way that I did. He thought he'd gotten it through, he thought he'd gotten away with it, but the swing from the back of Sandbags is admittedly not perfectly timed, but it's perfectly timed for entertainment value.
Maddening.
Nice. That's certainly what's going to be felt on the Eternal Fire camp here. As, my God, look at the odd swing back in ENCE's favour.
Yeah, it feels like the game back and forth like a pendulum. Which way is this one going to end up? Another buy. Fills the pockets of Eternal Fire because of the luxury of the loss bonus. But at that same time, you need to start converting these. Thankfully for Eternal Fire, Emor has an AWP finally. It feels like an eternity ago since he last had one. In towards middle, just waiting for an opportunity.
Eternal Fire, more like eternal lack of buy. No, okay. I'm not going to try that again, Brandon. It is good to see the AWP out, though, as Calix. It's good to see him getting some action towards his B-bomb site. Spots the barrel of Diha, but Diha spots him too. But Calix, regardless of the amount of times he's been seen, sees off two of the opposition, and that's exactly the start that Eternal Fire needed. This is probably the reason ENCE have left B so desolate. They know what Calix can do to them if they push him down, and they're not prepared for him.
Battle of the IGLs goes Major's way as well. But Madden is finding more success. Emor is so low. He just needs to try and survive right now, because if that kill comes through, I was going to say then some Pirates could go to the bomb site, but no, instead Major, he's going to win this round single-handedly unless some Pius hits a ridiculous flick, and he does. The adjustment is there, and now he's on his bike. Look at the ground that Madden's got.
Oh,
He's
no!
found Emor, and Zantares is trying to get him down, trying to deny the bomb, and my goodness me, some Pius is ready for it.
With the P250 as well, that was brutal. Oh, it's head in hands. Eternal Fire, they look stunned on the player cams there. That was a ridiculous end to what was such a promising round. Calix does everything he needs to. Major picks it a 4 versus 2, but Madden and Sunpius. It's ridiculous. Look at this. That's an 100 HP Zantares, removed by the P250. It could not get any wilder as ENCE are netting a magnificent comeback on their own map pick.
It didn't even look like Zantares was there on the mini-map. But he was, and Calix, well, he's there on B stairs. MP9s and Deagles. But still an opener for Eternal Fire.
It's meant nothing for them so far, though, Brandon. They're going to need to do a hell of a lot more than entry to have me fulfill some more confidence in their game plan. Because it hasn't really looked like they've had much up until this point.
Hello. Emor. In towards mid. He's already there. But instead of flanking, just going to reset back on over. In actual fact, that's his teammate. He is down the ladder already. Madden holding for it. As utility litters the B bomb site. Emor's gone undetected here, and there's 3 players on B.
This could be huge from Emor if he finds the perfect timing. He could cut down 4 players now as they surge on out, and Emor finds the first on some players. Calix another one, but Deagle, but it is now a 1 versus 2. A 1 versus 2 for Snappy make it. The Zeutil continues to rain on in. He's had to leave the bomb behind as Zantares. He just has to buy time here. Oh wait, they don't know where the bomb is. There's been a rotation back up from Major as Snappy has been allowed to collect the C4, but the rotation now, there's not enough time for him to go for it. Instead, the plant will come in on this B site as they double swing from the same angle. Snappy would never expect this, and Major becomes a hero towards the end of that round. It was a necessity for Eternal Fire to put it on the board, and it is wild that that is their first you can't even call it a gun round. They came in with Deagles and an MP9, but that's the first round outside of the pistol they put up on CT.
And CSGO is a game of timings, and Emor finds the perfect one. It's his push originally in towards middle that allows and facilitates the reposition of Eternal Fire to have 3 players on the bomb site already. And you can really feel the strain and the effects on the game, because after winning that round, they're going to call for a 30-second breather. Coach being animated, talking instructions is Faber. Just reminding Eternal Fire that, look, they have this game in the palm of their hands. They built up such a massive lead on that T side. And ENCE, whilst they have built back, kind of need to remind them of who you once were.
Oh man, that is the perfect time to call a tactical timeout. That is a round that they will want ENCE to have live rent-free in their heads. It was a ridiculous way to win it. Calix extends early towards the top of B stairs with a Deagle, lands a ridiculous 1D and manages to find a second from White Box despite being on less than 20 health, courtesy of the ENCE nades that rain down upon him. Nantara's looking to rain down fire from the Eternal Fire camp on the top of ramp. It will also spur this push back down as they retreat behind the boxes and actually make their way over the bridge with the bomb. Is this going to end up towards B here as Deha looks to investigate? Perhaps not, as he welters his way back on over, grouping up with his squad.
Yeah, they're just waiting. They're just thinking that they might be better moving as a pack. And everyone is here for ENCE, even Henu. And it's Antares. He just keeps getting these gunfights one by one. Pius is there to trade at the very least. There's players on gap. There's players rotating forward. And xFloud on towards the site. Antares, the damage has really been done right now.
Yeah, that was an absolute necessity of an opening 2K. It's a risky position to play. High risk, high reward, as we say. As now 3 players surge towards this A bomb site. They leave 1 in middle in case of an emergency, but Pius emerging from that utility usage. Not going to be best pleased with 20 points of health in a 3 versus 4. Emor is taking significant damage from that Molotov, but he deals it back in droves. He finds 2 with the push. Gorgeously done. Great flash assist from Major, and Pius left last alive, can't do anything but save this AWP.
That's really nice from Eternal Fire. Just when you think that they're kind of running out of ideas, they're starting to be overwhelmed on the bomb site because ENCE is pushing them back. Pius is not going to save the AWP here, by the way. They just make sure that everything they do is with intent, and they're going to catch ENCE off guard by proactively flashing through the smoke. And it's not just Emor that swings, there's another player behind him. There's quick trade space, and it all starts off with Antares playing this slight devilish off angle and finding 2 kills. And from there, well, the rest is all Eternal Fire.
Yeah, Antares hasn't always found that much luck from that position, but he'll definitely be glad of it in this one. Will be another gun round. We've seen an awful lot of gun rounds threaded together here. It was the one round without the upgraded weaponry that started this, I guess, comeback for Eternal Fire. They were at a 2-round deficit. They've equalized the scoreline again on their opponent's map pick, and they're not letting to look this one slip away. Antares, Molotov towards Pius's position. Gets information as well as he jumps up to try and take the fight on Sandbags to no avail. Now actually pushing will be the Turk, as Deha looks to force the affair towards the opposite side of the map. Good flashbang, forces them off. And so far, very little damage dealt across both sides.
Yeah, hence right now they are just waiting, trying to bide some time, trying to find opportunity, but potentially it could be Major. Snappy, caught lacking.
Yeah, didn't expect that push at all. Gorgeously done by Major. Another man advantage. As ENCE, you can tell the nerves are getting to them. They were in a very, very similar point yesterday. Definitely could have won out the map. Definitely could have made that series a lot more competitive to start the day. That's what they at least look to do here. There is still every opportunity for them to take their own map pick, and Pius takes the opportunity to find a trade. 4v4, but time is ticking. They've got to force the affair towards this B bomb site. Bomb is tentative, still on the stairs. Calix, though, staring down 3 players from behind the backside column. Major now has a lot to do instead to make up for that death, and he will deliver for a first. 3 versus 2, and they've got a scrap of util left to retake with, because it will be a retake. The bomb has gone down.
But how do you do this if you're Diha and Henu? How are these ARF plants going to come into effect? Everyone rotating forward from CT for Eternal Fire. You've got kits aplenty, smoke for the bomb. Diha, Henu, caught in between 2 mines, worried about the flank, of course, but he needs to be fighting forward. Henu just jiggling, trying to take a little bit of contact, trying to bait Diha in. No flashbang to disrupt. Diha will answer the call. Xantares dropping a smoke on the bomb, spots out Henu's backpack. Now it starts to get a little bit dangerous. Timer ticking down low. Someone needs to get on the bomb, but Xantares has run out of time. Diha and Henu hold on to get ENCE 14.
And it's the B bomb site players to lock it down on the opposite side, Brandon. A perfect post plant from the pair of them, a perfect crossfire as they steal back the lead. They're not going to be happy with that one in the Eternal Fire camp. Again, amount of advantage squandered as they just move in a little too slowly. They could have used that smoke to isolate the jewels rather than putting it on the bomb so early. Xantares actually curses himself by deploying that piece of util as he misses vision on Henu despite initially spotting him. And as all that crumbles down, Eternal Fire, their economy not crumbled yet. We will have ourselves another gun round, as if Eternal Fire cannot equalize here, that should well be enough for ENCE to steal this one away. But xCloud, oh, it's a double! Oh, to make it a triple! xCloud, the king of middle, delivers again! And ENCE, how the hell did you let that one slip through the cracks?
A moment of magic from xCloud. And it really throws the ENCE plans into disarray. Some pious, sure, you can gather this control, but there's players in towards Elevator. xCloud is still positioned to trade off Xantares if he needs it. That bomb is just going to be put down in immediately. 4 versus 2, no utility for ENCE apart from a single flashbang on some pious. They're both looking to reset in towards gap. This will be very difficult for them to try and hold on.
Calix has at least heard one of them rotating back towards short through the wall. But some pious, well, he might have his ears, but he will have no vision behind that smoke. The offensive comes on through for Eternal Fire. Sumpire spammed on down low. Diha, though, he's in a perfect position, but not so much anymore. And this 1 versus 4 does find the head of the first. Someone needs to start sticking that bomb as Xantares sticks a round of lead in the forehead of Diha. My goodness, is there no defuse kit here? There is no defuse kit. This might not be the round. Oh my goodness, it's close. It's 14-14. You are right, Brandon. Eternal Fire, no need to panic, as we do even up the scoreline again.
Diha is really starting to come alive, though. But this is just brilliant from xCloud. ENCE just tried for a contact play. Rather than leading with utility, they were trying to overwhelm and surprise Eternal Fire's defense with firepower. And xCloud says, thank you very much. Really nice spray control. Mows them all down with that A4. And look what it's left ENCE working with. They've invested fully into this. 3 Tech 9s, 2 AKs. The AK players have got nothing in their tool belts.
Yeah, talk about a swing round. It swung pretty poorly against the likes of ENCE. And Calix, look at his proactivity, but Diha, he's still alive more importantly. And oh, that's brutal from Major. The nade to start things off. A flashbang from Snappy fully blinds the star as Calix find another onto Madden. And I'm stealing your pun, that is maddening for ENCE as they are absolutely bombarded towards the bottom of B stairs there. Some pious, the next up on the rifle, 8 HP to his tally. And xCloud is more than ready to still receive these players as he tucks in tightly at the back of quad.
And they can't flush him out either. There's no Molotov. There is a grenade.
1 nade, but it's not enough on a 100 HP player.
Even got the support of Major. Major could even take first contact here and just bait. This looks really improbable for ENCE to carve open an opportunity. Some pious will at least spot that IGL. Flashbang reigns on high. xCloud, when will he swing? It will be now. And he delivers in droves once more. A multi-kill. And Snappy, he's still fighting. He's been this player to really kickstart ENCE into this T side. Really bring them back from the brink, but instead, he now needs to come toe-to-toe with a 1 versus 2. Major on the cross. It's significant damage. And the nade should be well placed. Snappy will fall. Eternal Fire up to map point on ENCE's map pick.
My goodness, and that's everything for ENCE. They invested all they could into that previous. They had rifles, they had util, but they did not anticipate a major Calyx swing towards the top of stairs. Nor the team flash from Snappy, actually, again, full blinding the pole. But now with Eternal Fire in pole position, ENCE, they need to pull off a miracle on these Tech 9 tier. Eternal Fire have a habit of making maps very close. Their inability to close has sometimes come to bite them, especially against the likes of BNE. But ENCE, they were able to do it yesterday. Can they do it again as Xantares is alive with 4 HP? Barely usable in this position as Emor swaps out for him. Xantares behind the sandbags. I mean, he could still be a problem, but honestly, I want him a lot further back than where he is now.
He's going up on over. Diha will remove him, but look at the flank from Calyx. Already in the back lines, and once again, ENCE are not really considering this. They're not up utility, they're missing utility as well, and Calyx will strike and drop the bomb. This feels like the beginning of the end.
Still a 4v4 though, they've still got time. They can overwhelm this bomb site. They've got a minute to play with, actually. And apparently they don't want to overwhelm the bomb site, they want to overwhelm Calyx, because in fairness, if they kill him, they can dart on over to B and have free reign on the opposite side of the map. That's what's going to happen. They're looking for Calyx, but he's tucked into a corner. Are they going to clear this angle? Some players very wary about the ladder room, as he should be, but he sees the barrel of the A1S, and this is where things could go south for Eternal Fire. They need to cling on. They need these fast rotations to come in the nick of time.
They are. Emor is here, ready and waiting, but the flash, it fully blinds him. ENCE, they're looking to overwhelm the Tech 9s. They are starting to do it. Major with the nade will deny the bomb. Madden will fall. Suddenly, some Pius is walking wounded. 2 versus 2. Diha stands strong. And xFloud is thrown into a really uncomfortable clutch, but guess what? He's on the flank. There's no time he can deny the bomb. There's no more opportunity. Eternal Fire just about close it out.
My God, they make a mess out of that last round, Brandon. As Calyx falls down, there is a lot of hope for ENCE to get themselves back into gear, but they can't quite do it. The flank from xFloud is fantastic, and he really has been a hero for Eternal Fire on this map of Vertigo. Back-to-back performances exceeding expectations here, and whew, what a heart attack finish.
Yeah, Diha tried his best, started to wake up off the back of Snappy's good performances, but it was xFloud and these flanked once more that undid ENCE. Let's throw it now back over to Parla and the guys on the desk.
Thank you, B-Dog and Sneaky, for that energy. And I think it very much was coming off that mental last round. Eternal Fire almost threw it away, Alan and Freddie.
It wasn't just the last round. That entire second half was absolutely ludicrous. The number of rounds that were in after plans, it didn't matter who had the stronger buy. Rounds were still going close. So that was absolute madness. And I felt for a long time in that second half like Eternal Fire had let it slip. It was only in the very final stages where they actually got it together.
Yeah, completely. Like Eternal Fire, they won both pistol rounds.
Yeah.
They win the first half 10-5 and then win the pistol round and then proceed to lose 8 in a row.
Yeah.
And then of course the round they win is when they gamble stack with Deagles, 3 players on the B bomb site. They don't get Molotov out of position and it all comes tumbling down from ENCE. As well, the flank at the very end there, it was reminiscent and I was getting deja vu of yesterday, because if you guys can cast your mind back, when ENCE actually lost the map against Eternal Fire on Vertigo, it was because Major flanked 2 rounds in a row, and there we see the reason and the main reason for the end of that round was because of the flank.
ENCE made it a real battle. Why do you think they were able to string so many rounds together in that second half, guys?
I think they played some good Counter-Strike. I think honestly, when you're playing with a standard, I think T-side's easier because you can like change the way you're playing a lot more.
Yeah.
You can navigate around those holes, whereas on the CD side, fundamentally, one fifth of your map is going to be an inexperienced player or something that isn't quite in tune. So I think that does help. I do think Eternal Fire, they look flustered to me. They didn't look... Remember the start of that first half? They looked so calm, so composed. They were hunting players and taking it perfectly, and we didn't see that in that second half. Those after parts were chaotic, they were wild, and I think for them, a couple timely pauses and a quick discussion, guys, just calm down with a big lead, might have done them a world of good.
It's really interesting actually just seeing on the replays there, round number 19, when they actually won a full eco, then couldn't defuse the bomb. So this game could have been completely different.
There were some very odd moments, yeah.
Yeah, if they literally had like and then there as well, in that defuse, when he's spamming randomly and frantically in the smoke, he happens to connect a bullet with 0.25 seconds left on the defuse. ENCE, they did get very lucky a few times, I think, and then here as well, especially Sam Pius just randomly one-tapped Xantares. I remember seeing the player cams afterwards, and Xantares sitting there being like, what just happened?
Yeah.
How has it just happened? So I think they did get a little bit of grace from God there in a few times, but I really agree with what Alan was saying of they didn't have the same ferociousness on that T side in the first half. Eternal Fire, Xantares, Immort, they were going up every single position they possibly could and banging everyone's heads. However, you look in the second half and the script just flipped. You had D-Her and Snappy really doing justice to their T side.
All right, Counter-Strike, very much a game of fine margins sometimes. This could have easily been ENCE's game. We've got the scoreboard up on screen now. A very wide kill spread for ENCE. Probably too much weight on D here. And Snappy, it wasn't yesterday, the day before. We mentioned sometimes Snappy happens to be a fragging IG. It doesn't happen super regularly, but he managed to have one of those performances. But yeah, not enough from the stand, and he knew it would have been nice to see some Pies have a bit more impact as well. Standout for Eternal Fire was Emor, and he's a player that we've wanted to see a bit more from at times, and we had those questions coming off of yesterday where he looked a bit troubled under pressure. Not today, at least not at the start of this best of three.
Oh, the first half was absolutely sensational for Emor, and the funny thing is, of course, you've had those conversations saying role change for Emor. Is that now made his play better? Is he more comfortable AWPing? Funny thing about Vertigo is they just 5-rifle it the whole time, and he's still playing his old spot, so nothing fundamentally has changed, and Emor looked brilliant in this game, and in that first half, him and Xantares were absolute monsters, just going onto sides, ripping heads, and ENCE, they just didn't know what hit them. They just get absolutely bulldozed on the bomb sides.
We saw some moments where Xantares was in full AI robot mode, and the crosshair was just snapping between heads. Does he need to carry that on, guys, going into map number 2? Let's touch upon Anubis quickly, which is Eternal Fire's pick.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is about Anubis, and I've seen it played out a few times now, he looks really uncomfortable in mid on the CT side. Really uncomfortable. It doesn't play like other maps where he has options. It's a really hard spot to play, and yeah, in that sense, I do think Xantares needs to be a mechanical god, because I don't think strategically they approach that position in the right way.
I mean, generally speaking, Freddie, you guys were a bit disappointed, right, as a collective analyst desk, that Eternal Fire once again picked Anubis.
Yeah.
You would have preferred seeing him. Are there still worries creeping in as we actually go into it for real?
Yeah, especially, and then picking up on your point, they don't seem that comfortable. ENCE have actually never won on Anubis, but I just really would have preferred if Eternal Fire had just picked Inferno. I don't know why. In my opinion, it just felt like they big brained themselves. But if Xantares and Immor can continue what they were doing, because if you look back at that first half, a lot of those rounds that they were winning were just because they were getting triple entries. That isn't sustainable, though. I'm not a big fan of having, Xantares, you're just going to go and you're going to get a triple kill every single round, because that isn't something you can necessarily rely on. But a point I want to touch on, and I want to compare xFlow to Hinu right now. Hinu wasn't very proactive in his flanks, and we saw xFlow very early on both halves be very proactive with his flanks. I think that was a big difference. Hinu has got 13 kills in both games they've played on Vertigo now, and he was definitely a big reason why they didn't win. And I think on Anubis, I want to see a little bit more from him, and also Sam Pius.
Alan, let's finish with you. What would you like to see on Anubis from Eternal Fire? Because I imagine if ENCE and Snappy specifically have some aces up their sleeve, that it could get pretty tricky for Eternal Fire. So what do they need to do?
I mean, it could do. They might have expected this to be
exactly.
Inferno going into the series. I think now that we've seen it play out a few times, their CT sides are really problematic on Eternal Fire. Their T sides are great. They really function well. Yeah, it is in a sense, but the number of rounds where it looks like they're in good positions on that CT side and they can't capitalize and they don't have the right crossfires and maybe a small communication mistake, it's just a little bit too much. And I really hope they can clean it up, because it does sometimes look like they have the right idea, but these finishing stages of the rounds, they can crumble big time on the defense.
Guys, we have to go to a break, but I have to ask you both, is it going to be 2-0 or 1-1?
2-0, Eternal Fire.
I think 1-1. I think it's going to be 1-1. I think Yeah, I genuinely think ENCE are going to take this. I believe in my boys. I thought that was going to be a win for them. I have no idea how they lost that, but I want to quote Vu here for a second. 16-14 win and you win both pistol rounds? Did you really win?
Alan and Freddie, thank you so much. Everybody at home, ENCE's backs are truly against the wall now. If they lose Eternal Fire's pick of Anubis, they are out of CCT.
I have a very complicated job, but I love simple things so much. One move, one push. One touch. One love. One click. One XBet.
Are you sick?
And let's introduce our second guest, Regali, formerly of Game Agents or Fnatic Rising, now playing in Copenhagen Flames, absolutely tearing up the scene right now. They've been playing super well. They've won some of our tournaments.
Hello everybody watching this.
You guys are playing an obscene amount of games.
Trained a lot, we practiced a lot.
Were you a bit worried after you joined? And
He was one of the main reasons I really wanted to join Copenhagen Flames. Right now I became strong with rifle as well.
the thing is, it sounds like you're continuing to expand your game.
We are playing way better in officials.
How do you find time to practice? You guys have obviously been placing super highly in these events consistently now.
I mean, the gun that I would buff would definitely be the R8 revolver. And the reason of that is because I feel like after they got nerfed, it's just been completely useless. Like nobody uses unless it's for troll, I feel like. So either it should be cheaper or maybe damage a little more. I don't know how I would do it, but I think it should be buffed for sure.
So I would definitely buff AWP again to do 10 shots instead of 5 shots. Because if you miss one shot with the AWP, it's over already when 5 guys just rush at you. When you have like 5 people rushing at you, missing 2 shots, it's over already. You can only kill 3 people, so yeah.
I'll probably buff Deagle, get the old Deagle back in the game with the 2 Deagle shots, just because like, I don't know, I was kind of Deagle abuser and I really hate this nerf they did on it. So I'll just say buff the Deagle back to the 2 body shots.
I think need to buff Negev because of need to new meta in CSGO, and this will be cool, I think.
I would buff SG because even though it was not very good, I really liked to play with it. It was so easy. I don't know.
I want to buff the revolver and make it more like the Deagle, where you're able to shoot a bit faster, I would say, and then make it like a bit more stable, if it makes sense, like the spread of the gun, so it's more stable.
The gun that I would nerf, I would actually say the MP9, and I feel like just the MP9 is a strong weapon because of like the fire rate and like how fast you can just melt people by and running and gunning, and yeah, I just think it's too strong for $1,200, right?
Okay, I would nerf the Negev to 50 bullets maybe instead of 100.
That's the smokes actually, yeah, the smokes. Like, but this will be like a big change. Like get the time, like the round time a bit. Like you start 135 or something, and you like delay the smokes like from 50 seconds to like 8 seconds or something, like to make the game a bit like fast-paced.
Maybe the Vertigo because of many fourth rounds. Deagle is a very important gun in the game.
Nerf the AWP, obviously. I don't know how. Actually, I think it's good, but I have to nerf one. So I mean, 1 shot, 1 kill. So it's not fair. I don't know.
Would nerf dualies, probably. Maybe it's a bit overpowered in the pistols right now.
And the gun that I would delete would be the AWP. And I feel like the AWP is just so strong, even though it got nerfed to 5 bullets in the magazine. It's still so strong. Like you also see on stats, like every AWP is on the top of the stats rat. And like, yeah, it's just a strong weapon and I hate playing against it.
I would delete revolver because no one uses it. So yeah.
And I'll probably delete the mollies. I really hate the mollies. I just hate the mollies. I will delete the mollies out of the game.
M2 49. I think I will delete this gun, but maybe buff it. Do it more cheaper, I don't know.
Delete revolver because no one plays with it, I guess.
I will delete P90. Obviously, well, let's say the revolver you could delete or you could buff to make it more usable, but let's delete the P90, which is maybe some public servers' favorite weapon, and then again sometimes you also see it in a competitive play, but let's delete it for now.
A very complicated job, but I love simple things so much. One move, one push. One touch. One love. One click. One XBet.
Tired of boring case openings? Do you always get only cheap skins? The Hellcase website has tons of options to upgrade your inventory. It's up to you to participate in giveaways, events, or compete with other players in opening cases. Hellcase, your world of expensive skins.
And let's introduce our second guest, Regali, formerly of Game Agents or Fnatic Rising, now playing in Copenhagen Flames, absolutely tearing up the scene right now. They've been playing super well. They've won some of our tournaments.
Hello everybody watching this.
You guys are playing an obscene amount of games.
Trained a lot, we practiced a lot.
Were you a bit worried after you joined? And
he was one of the main reasons I really wanted to join Copenhagen Flames. Right now I became strong with rifle as well.
The thing is, it sounds like you're continuing to expand your game.
We are playing way better in officials.
How do you find time to practice? You guys have obviously been placing super highly in these events consistently now.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back again to the consolidation finals of the CCT Central Europe Malta Finals. It's a pleasure to be bringing you through the action again, and, well, Madden's 2-0 prediction didn't quite come into fruition, but by God, did it come close to being competitive at the end of that first map.
Yeah, for sure, right? ENCE, they got 9 rounds in a row on that T side. It was really impressive how they were building their way back into the game, especially after how hot off the presses Eternal Fire came out the gate. It was Emor, Xantares, and Snappy really was that leading pillar of hope for ENCE. And what's exciting is that Dheart and Madden were warming up towards the end of things, and they were the players on ENCE against Spirit that were really leading the charge here on Anubis. They did lose, but it was in overtime. And now they're looking to put their best foot forward on this defense.
I'll be honest, I do think ENCE stand a better chance of winning this map than they do Vertigo. Eternal Fire have looked fairly shaky on it, but a shaky start for Sunpius as he's dinked on down to 15. Major, a nice nade to follow things up, but Madden... Oh, Madden, of course, he's in for 3! My goodness me, locking down the bomb site, finally removed, but it looks like he may well have already done enough. It was xCloud to win a 1v2 at the end of the last map, but not the 1v3 this time, as that is a very solid start for ENCE.
Yeah, let's have a look at this replay, right? Dodging and weaving. It starts off really well with Eternal Fire using the nades to kind of isolate angles, but Madden does a really good job around the obelisk, buys time for the rotations to come in, and ENCE get off to a strong start.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the start that ENCE needed. After what was a pretty crushing defeat in the previous map, they definitely could have taken it to overtime. There was ample opportunity for it, but again, xCloud with that 1v2, just a little too much for them to cope with. A very nice flank as Eternal Fire might be flanking in this one. All 5 of them stacked up towards that A bomb site. They make their way over the ridge as well as not to be spotted by what I like to call dodgeball, but by the pit player on B. No exchanges of utility down that neck of the woods today, but utility does rain down towards A.
Oh, Sunpius getting up close, drops the smoke, and now wants to attack, try and get rid of Eternal Fire before they can even make their way forward. Utility is wasted, the smokes are dwindling, and look at the rotations as well. Everyone is here to stand and receive.
Yeah, but Madden realises that the push has not come through, so decides to readjust his own position. In tandem with Snappy, they fall back to the B bomb site and set up a pretty nice crossfire. Xantares looks to be the first to walk on into it. Mac 10 in tow, the strongest weapon on the Eternal Fire side at the moment. Time is ticking away. Now going to at least hope for a bomb plant here. With these 2 prominent riflers ready to receive them, I'm not even sure if that's going to be an opportunity.
It's going to be difficult, no utility for ENCE. They're going to have to do it with these crossfires, as you mentioned. Xantares first in, Snappy yet to reveal himself, but xCloud's looking to isolate, but stands tall with the M4s. They prevail because they're the prominent rifles. ENCE back to back.
Well, that is a guttural scream there from the ENCE camp. A very solid start on their opponent's map pick. I'm going to stick with my 2-1 prediction in this series. I do think ENCE are at the very least going to be picking up the likes of Anubis. We are very, very early doors into it. Really could fling either way. The main person I'm keeping an eye on here is Emor. I want to see him have lots of impact in this second map.
Oh, there you go. Dia deleted. Deagle sings out immediately for Eternal Fire. Boost up upon the smoke as well. Could maybe reap a little bit more of a reward as Sunpius is still in towards middle. Rifle definitely not recoverable as of yet for Eternal Fire, but at least they find the opening.
Yeah, I like this boost as well. Sunpius doesn't overextend. If he had, he would have been in for a rude awakening come round number 3. But, God, speak of a devil, and Emor delivers. Gorgeous 1 dig in towards middle. Dika, very, very slow start to the previous game. He was 2 in 9, I think, at one point on that B-side defense. Well, this time, won't be defending much, but an early grave. Still just the pistols for Eternal Fire, though. And there's no util behind them either. This should be a fairly convincing round for ENCE, regardless of that opening death.
Yeah, Henu is here to take first contact. Sunpius can just stand and support, but he doesn't really need to at the moment. It is all Henu, about to potentially be overwhelmed, but Madden chimes in with the fun. Pistols not finding anything further than just that opening kill. 35 seconds left. Big nade. Doesn't actually quite catch out Calyx, but the incendiary will disrupt the positioning. xFloud just left in a 1 versus 3. A couple of these players are quite low, and he has got the bomb on his back. It's a foot race potentially to the B bomb site.
He's actually heard that bridge player though. And if Snappy decides to drop on down, there is a potential that he could be caught off guard. xFloud baits it in, but regardless, A1S beats P250 in that deadly game of rock, paper, scissors. Shout out to Emor. 2 big frags there in that round, but it's only economic damage. Oh, that's clean. Regardless, Henu, hopefully this is going to allow him to build up some personal confidence here, farming up a couple of eco frags. As ENCE, they do sit 3-0 on their CT side, which is, again, the side they struggled with on the previous map.
Yeah, good to get the ball rolling, especially on a map like Anubis. I feel like it is inherently more T-sided, just because we are still going through the developments of establishing what really is meta and what isn't. This definitely is. Eternal Fire gathering all of their forces over towards A. It's going to be a straight execute here and now. You can see they are lining up with the pixels. Maybe a deep flash being thrown in by Emor as well. Henu's going to have to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, unlike Forza though, ENCE chose to start on the CT side of their opponent's map. Here can they look to prove why that's the right decision. Henu, oh my goodness, he had no right in finding that kill, that's for sure. It appears a team flashbang comes on through, but Calix pulls through with a double kill. And Eternal Fire at least temporarily have this bomb site on lockdown.
Incendiary trying to disrupt, trying to allow Snappy a way back in, but I feel like given the fact that there's been no kills presented themselves immediately, you're down the man deficit. You definitely want to try and save this because some bias is still on that AWP. You see that Madden hasn't moved off the bomb site the entirety. All of this commotion has been going on at A. So Eternal Fire, the execute does work out, and the rifles will sing a sweet melody and allow themselves to get the first round on the board.
Yeah, Henu was just caught so off guard there by a barrage of utility. As much as he does an amazing job to actually find a kill in amidst all the carnage, it won't quite be enough to stop what was a 5-man push towards his bomb site. And with that, that is an opening gun round won out by Eternal Fire. Looking to make a bigger impact on this first half than what the Pistols could ascertain.
Yeah, xFloud and Emor yet to find a kill. So far, Calix has a really nice transfer as well. Just on the way forward. But is this a flash in the pan, or will this be the beginning of something to build upon for Eternal Fire? Instant dark smoke dropped on in as well. Emor with the Krieg. Does get unsettled a little bit by the flashbang. But it's going to be a quicker play. He says there's going to be a split in towards water. Madden needs to hold strong here against Antares.
Antares yet to post up a frag. This one would be crucial, but oh, no way. Madden's got great trigger discipline here, but he allows Antares a kill onto Snappy. That's not part of the plan. And now Madden in a 1v4 will fall flat on his face. Major, great frag. A crucial piece of the puzzle as Emor now ebbs up with the Krieg, and that's going to be another save call for the likes of ENCE.
Wow, that's really rough. Madden had the perfect read there. He was holding just to see if he could get any more potential players or just an advantage from that trigger discipline, but it doesn't work out. Snappy falls and he feels like he needs to take the kill, and there's an immediate trade from Major.
Yeah, Antares is just too fast. If you give him an inch, he will take a mile, and in this instance, he'll take the opposition IGL down with him. Snappy, a good performance so far. It's 5-1 as Madden. I mean, that was an almost perfect play. If he'd have pulled that trigger just a second sooner, dinked up Antares, made him lose accuracy, then it would have been, again, the perfect play. But ENCE, yeah, it's going to be a rough one to lose, especially when they had a setup and a timing as good as that. Antares on the flip side, though, thanking his lucky stars that he was able to entry for the squad and put his first kill up onto the board.
Yeah, good flashbangs as well. Snappy doesn't know what hits him here.
Yeah, I believe it was a 7.62 round, Brandon.
Ball's being taken, I do believe, yeah, off the back of it. Trying to get everyone on the same page does make sense. He just lost consecutive rounds in a row. Eternal Fire are looking to build their way back into the game. But it is good that we are seeing the likes of Madden really be here from the offset. Xantares has taken him a little bit to kind of warm into the game. And Snappy showing very good form off the back of that Vertigo pick as well.
Yeah, actually taking us back to the desk, what Freddie said at the end of it really resonated with me. Did you really win the game if you won both pistol rounds? If the likes of Eternal Fire hadn't have been able to win both pistol rounds on Vertigo, then I reckon the end of that map would have been a very, very different story. They needed that one extra round to even keep themselves in contention. So with ENCE already winning a pistol round here, hopefully that will nullify the effects of whatever Eternal Fire will be able to bring at the start of the second half.
Maybe more of the same. Maybe a rinse and repeat here for Eternal Fire, as the majority of their forces are right outside towards B. xCloud's been holding the bomb and a smoke for quite a while, so I think this is going to be the deliberate intention. Snappy with the AUG, spots out Xantares, follow-up grenade. Won't be the killing blow, but Emor's been able to slide in the meantime. Madden hits the deck.
Yeah, massive kill from the scoped-in weapon there. Pretty nifty when it comes to these long-range angles, pixel peak corners. As Eternal Fire hit a peak in this round with an early man advantage. Xantares is very low, but still has a belt of utility to work with, and regardless of the HP that Xantares has, you can guarantee he'll always be a formidable foe. xCloud even more so though, as Snappy is again removed from the B bomb site. D here, a lovely trade, finds another, evens up the manpower as Major falls flat on his face again. Calyx, oh my goodness, that's risky. Fully blinded, but stuck behind the pillar, waits perfectly for the swing. And as Dika is removed, this buys a lot of space on the bomb site. Henu is trying to push up from CT, actually spots xCloud on the cross. A great kill from the youngster there. This round could still be ENCE's.
And you know exactly where Calyx is if you're ENCE. And you know the bomb was just trying to make its way over on transition. Calyx swings up, but has got no information about Dark. Both players, they're in towards CT. Molotov on the bomb. That's going to buy even more valuable seconds. Calyx will get the bomb, but Henu steps in, and now Xantares is low HP. Henu has been amazing on this bomb site, really dependable anchor, rotates him through, and Xantares has got nothing more to say. ENCE with an immediate rebuttal after that tactical timeout.
I mean, hey, we talk about proactivity from Henu as he pushes down CT there. He absolutely seals the deal on the round. If he'd have been a moment later, that bomb plant could still have come on in, and there was a nice crossfire there between Calyx and Xantares, and despite his low HP, we know how good that man is at hitting heads. But Diha, more importantly, takes 2 heads to his tally as the preliminary defense falls around him.
Yeah, that incendiary not well placed by Eternal Fire. They were jumping up above the smoke to try and line it up, but Diha is just staying in the back lines the entire time. The flames do not spread to him, but Emor might be looking to trail Blaze in round number 7. Snappy could be caught off guard, but instead it's Madden. It's one of these players each and every round. Eternal Fire will always find the opener towards B.
That is a ridiculously nice shot from Emor too. It's not often that you have an AWP barreling down Canals, but he doesn't give a damn as Xantares barrels into some bias. A nice swift decapitation as another 2-man advantage is ascertained. ENCE now looking to adjust themselves, but they've got no information on where Eternal Fire really want to end things up here. Henu will be on the receiving end of some utility, as Major's on the receiving end of a nice spray, but Henu takes damage in the process. Still this man advantage for EF. As much as the flashbang will temporarily stunt them, they will still be able to overwhelm with their sheer manpower.
And by pumping the brakes here, it puts a little bit of doubt into Diha's mind. You can see that he's rotating between 2 angles. Henu's now going to slide back on over. Will communicate the utility, and he does take another one to the grave. 2 versus 3. Still in favor of this T side. Diha, first player to rotate forward. Good flashbang. But xCloud is actually playing anti the entire time. Another one of these rounds where Eternal Fire needs to put the bomb down, and there's only limited time remaining.
Yeah, there's a smoke down towards heaven, but it's gone rather awry, if I do say so. Snappy has come on in to help out Diha here. Another flash rains on down, but again, xCloud will avoid it. Emor, he doesn't want to avoid this action, though, as xCloud decapitates the first on the retake attempt, leaving Snappy in a rather rough patch. He's got no util, does have a kit, but He knows that realistically he's got to fall away from this one. As much as he wants to be the hero there, he simply cannot afford it. And speaking of affording things, the economy for ENCE isn't in the best of spots either. This saved over weapon will be invaluable to topping them up in the next couple of rounds.
Yeah, gets really rough there. There were some even trades coming through. Shout out to Henu, again, being tested on this A bomb site, but taking multiple players with him. He's repositioning to make sure that when the rotations come through in towards middle, they're actually valuable. He's not standing in the same spot as they come through this smoke.
No, it's good to see, though, that Henu looks a lot more comfortable in his defensive role here, anchoring a bomb site towards A on Anubis versus B on Vertigo.
xFloud did really well there as well. The fact that he not only gets the bomb down, but takes two with him is really important and essential to that entire off plant for Eternal Fire.
Yeah, the afterplant was very, very clean. And xFloud's ability to dodge flashbangs, yeah, it's starting to become quite impressive. He's like Neo from the Matrix if they were tossing blinding lights at him. As Calyx, not the blinding start he was hoping for towards dodgeball there. Snappy cuts down Calyx. And Major, well, he looks to do the same to an MP9 abuser. But not quite enough in the spray to get it done. First opening advantage we've seen for ENCE in a little while now. Will they be able to keep this as Eternal Fire look to recover things? 3 towards Canals at this point as they kill the pace and discuss where they want to finish.
No, they didn't kill the player over towards Dark, right? It was that engagement that was lost out by Calyx. And as a result, they want nothing more to do with B. Good proactivity in towards middle. ENCE taking the control with Diha. With the MP9, the SMG can go searching.
Yeah, Sunpice, though, can't afford to overextend this. xFloud on the corner. Gets a freebie there. Elevating angle too much for the FAMAS to deal with. As the scout's also been spotted in the back lines. A nice nade does a tickle of damage to Madden, but it buys time for xFloud to waltz on through. Snappy waltzes him down. And with that, Henu now has been very prominent on this bomb site so far. Has slightly been overwhelmed, but Diha's in the back lines. And as much as Major gets the bomb down, Diha will seal the deal. And ENCE put 5 on the board on this CT side. A very solid start here again for the ENCE Riflers.
Yeah, and that shows a lot of importance over to the opening kill being found by that CT side. With limited opportunities for Eternal Fire out towards B, it really funnels them into a position where they need to take Dark. The default right now for this T side is to get control of this position that Snappy is occupying, throw a little bit of doubt into the minds and rotate ENCE, make them constantly guess where the bomb's finally going to end up. The more limiting that factor will be, the easier the rounds will come for ENCE.
Is it just me, or does it feel like A and B should be reversed in their labeling?
Yes, definitely.
It's thrown me off a couple of times, but Eternal Fire look to throw off ENCE off in this one. Major, 2 and 7 right now, been put down to the MAC 10, but more importantly, Xantares only has 2 frags coming into the 9th round of play. We need everyone for Eternal Fire to be top performing here, because ENCE, they are still a force to be reckoned with, despite their new signing, their new 5th player, being left behind, I believe, in the UK at the moment.
Look at Xantares. Look at this angle in towards middle. It's so weird. It's trying to catch anyone off guard, but Snappy once again answers that call. Eliminates xFloud. Sunpice now in towards mid. Has a little bit more breathing room with Xantares falling. 5 versus 3.
Yeah, another opening couple of picks for the likes of ENCE here, as they're starting to build up confidence on this CT side. Eternal Fire on the flip side, clearly lacking a little bit, as the bomb makes its way back over towards the A side of the map. Yeah, they cross over the boats here, as they look to cross straight into the open arms of Henu. And again, Henu playing fantastically. I think he's top fragging the server right now, as Emor yet to be given too many opportunities on the big green. Sunpice hasn't either. As Emor looks to entry again with the rifle, he's deciding to run straight through that fire and flame. Henu blinded off the angle. It's good utility usage from Eternal Fire here, but the bomb is not close enough to the site, and there are just too many players in resistance. Diha now replacing Henu, does gorgeously to dance around the totem pole, and with that, Sunpice chimes in for a final on the AWP and completely wipes the Eternal Fire push off the face of the planet.
Yeah, that's a really weird round again from Eternal Fire. They're leaving things right until the last possible moment before they execute in towards the bomb site. They're just not leaving themselves just valuable seconds to try and get these trades. And as a result, so many players are here for ENCE because they've got all the information everywhere else on the map. As Eternal Fire take a tactical pause, Hedu has been given a really big responsibility here by playing behind the fountain over at A and just anchoring down the A bomb site in general. It's quite meta for teams on the T side to really execute and exploit this A bomb site, partly due to the fact you can throw all the pieces of utility from one spot. You can kind of funnel out more in towards an arc rather than just a straightforward choke point as you can on B.
Yeah, Henu's not allowed himself to be exploited though. He's continuing to deliver in droves. That 8-3 scoreline speaks for itself, as ENCE currently leads 6-3, double that of their opposition, and they look to extend that further. As Eternal Fire, they don't look too hot right now, just the pistols, 2 of them Glocks, and as much as they flash Antares through, as much as he's gotten a lot of turf, Snappy ensures that Emort is cut out of this round, and Madden with his Molotov finds 2 more. That is a very swift cleanup, and a flawless round, I believe, for the likes of ENCE.
Yeah, that one goes a lot more by the book. Again, Eternal Fire trying to get a little bit of leverage over towards this dark position, but they are being just completely shut out. I don't remember the last time they got an entry towards this side of the map, as it was actually the kind of crux that was enabling them to get those first 3 rounds in the first place.
Yeah, Zentaris does actually get a frag on the Tech-9 there, but it doesn't really mean much as the economy is really building behind ENCE here. Lots of cash, lots of opportunities, and on the side of Eternal Fire, a severe lack of utility. Calix has none, Zentaris none either. Then xCloud's forced down to a Galil, so he can act as their personal utility belt in this rather dire scenario.
Yeah, really deep smokes being thrown down by ENCE, which really limits the amount of peaks and opening opportunities that Eternal Fire can gather.
Yeah, they're denying a lot of map control as well. And that's why I like to call it dodgeball, admittedly dark. But it's just a constant barrage of utility thrown from each side. It's just a problem for Eternal Fire. They don't have the utility to reply with, and so the deadly game of dodgeball has at least been, for now, won out by ENCE. Nate's not doing as much damage as I'm sure they would have liked, though, as Calix does a significant blow to the defense, felling Snappy.
Again, another incendiary placed down, but it's ground conceded at the very least. Zentara is looking over the top of the smoke, but ENCE aren't revealing themselves. They know the angles all too well. Another rotation comes through. Some Pius on the AWP, now posting long range at CT.
Who will win out this opening long-range duel, though, as the flashbangs rain on in? Zentara is completely blinded. Now, my main concern here is have Eternal Fire left it too late again, as Madden, only good for a single. xCloud starts to chime on in as well, but some Pius, he's been overlooked. Orp was so prominent from this position. Look to deliver again as some Pius finds 2. Bomb has gone down under his nose as he dances around the pillar here. Major tucks on in tightly, and xCloud saves his life as the corner's rounded. Henu rounds ahead of Major 2. It's a 1 versus 1. xCloud is so damn low, but despite it, the one tap with the Galil will seal the deal for Eternal Fire. xCloud keeps his cool, and that is a massive, massive play from him.
And just shout out Eternal Fire as well, right? They leave it until the last 20 seconds and still find a way to trade. And what's really nice about this after plant setup is that Major has baited some Pius into peeking B main for xCloud to hit him with the slam dunk. Nice try from Henu, but it's just not enough. Eternal Fire will salvage 1 round back. But it still comes at a cost. Despite winning the round, they're armed with Mac 10s. This could be a lot more pacier. Here reigns in the utility, and here stands Henu.
Now Henu, he's not even good for 1. Major finds that first bullet landing on the head of Henu, ruins his accuracy and shuts him down as Diha, good to shut down 1 in reply. But Calix, look at the presence he's taken and the presence of mind to check that smoke as Madam falls. And Cash is farmed. Bomb is down. Mac 10's causing carnage. I love this change of pace. And I love the resurgence of confidence for Eternal Fire. That's 5 on the board. ENCE, they might be 1 away from winning out the half, but it's certainly not in their back pocket just yet.
Yeah, where these rounds have been close, and where on the CT side you don't normally buy the helmets, that really comes back to bite ENCE, as the SMGs just completely overwhelm. And you're right, the change of pace, it does reward success. Another successful endeavor on towards the A bomb site. 5 rounds for Eternal Fire.
I mean,
I feel like 5 rounds isn't good enough, though. They do need a lot more. And the maximum they can get, obviously, is 8. But ENCE look to be in a prime position to certainly win out the half at the very least.
Yeah, certainly so, but we know that Eternal Fire is a momentum-based team, as they've proven here. They put one up on the board in a tight fashion, gets them a bit of confidence back. They decide for the change of pace. They put 2 in a row now, and actually damage the economy of ENCE quite badly. 2 MP9s coming through here. Sunpius does at least keep his AWP on over. As Eternal Fire look to tide over a 6th here. Major Molotov lobbed into Dark as Madden is kept in it behind that smoke. A decent amount of utility expended towards B for the offensive side here, but they do fall back. And they're keeping everyone guessing here as they lob even more smokes down. They're keeping 4 players very preoccupied as Major begging for someone to drop off bridge and give him an opener.
Yeah, so that Molotov thrown by Major was trying to force Madden into that grenade stack. Didn't quite work out because he was in the smoke the entire time, but look at this. There's 3 players here for ENCE. It's heavily fortified, but some Pius will fall. Major strikes at Dark, a follow-up flash. Madden can't deal with him. That's 2 critical openers.
That's a wild 180 from Major, and Major's just triple entried the B bomb site. I said the IGL was playing a little quietly today, but that is a massive round from him, and Henny, there's nothing he can do. Last alive is Diha, does actually find a double, but xCloud ensures there's nothing more behind it. As there's another round now behind the Turkish squad. A very solid performance again from the IGL in that one. I don't know how he finds 3 in the midst of all that carnage.
Oh, nice try from Diha. Gets really up close to the Molotov. You can see a lot more clearly if you are closer to the flames. Oh my goodness me, whilst he does try his best, xCloud is there for the trade. We're nearly tied up, and we might well be. Limited money for ENCE. Means a very lackluster buy.
Yeah, there's what? 3 Deagles and a 5-7. All they have to play with here, and Zantara spots 1, a second. This is where he farmed pistols before in the game against Forza to get his confidence back. Hopefully, this will deliver a similar caliber, a similar resurgence, because he was on 3 kills coming into this round. It was Major to be the hero in the previous. And whilst Eternal Fire don't need a hero in this one, ENCE certainly do. Already it looks a little too far gone despite the upgraded sidearms.
Let's see, next point of contact, potentially would have been Henu, but Major was holding the entire time. And yeah, confidence starting to build for Zantares. Does secure a number of kills for himself. And what's good about both teams on the server right now is the kill distributions are very even. And well, everyone does need to be firing. That wasn't the case for ENCE on Vertigo. It was Snappy really rallying the troops until the tail end, where Madden, Diha were really rising to the ranks. Henu looked good for a couple of multis, and Sunpius was always ever prevalent with that AWP. But right now, you can't say that. There's no criticism there at all. Everyone is arrived. Everyone is here because no one wants to be eliminated, because that's the stakes of this best of 3. If you lose this map, if you're ENCE, you are out of the tournament.
Yeah, they are looking for a grand finals here. This ENCE side, they've not had a title in a little while now, if I'm not mistaken, Brandon. Including the online cups, as now we're not online, we're on LAN. We've seen glimmers of Lantaras, which has been very good fun. Ridiculously high ratings, but then we've also seen fantastic fragging from Sunpius, and I'm keen to see a little bit more of that here. Only 1 round left on the defense, but he does at least have his big green. Eternal Fire, a surprising resurgence. But again, only 7 on the T side of a very T-sided affair. Is it going to be enough? As ENCE are not going down without a fight.
Might get a true AWP head-to-head in this round. It's only taken the entirety of the first half. Emor and Sunpius both with the big green. Major now lining up a smoke. That was going towards CT. As Eternal Fire look to build. They're just going to execute straight away on towards this B bomb site. Madden, Sunpius need to hold strong.
Yeah, this has to be a successful crossfire. As Eternal Fire, they're just letting ENCE simmer. They're letting that clock tick down. They're counting on the fact that they won't be taking presence towards A. They won't be looking for information because, in fairness, they have been very passive towards that side of the map. Now, as smoke starts to rain on down, utility starts to be expended, Eternal Fire ebb their way further towards the choke point. There are now 3 players here ready to receive them, and a barrage of nades flies over. Calix, though, swiftly trades out Madden, and the site is vulnerable, but Diha certainly is not. Lots of damage dealt. Molotov at least to cut off some presence, but the pole doesn't give a damn. He looks to cut down Xantares towards the back of pillars.
Bomb planted, but keep your eye on Snappy. Working his way through dark. Is being held right now by Emor. He's actually going to worm his way through, try and lock off this positioning. Is he going to clear close? Yes, he is. All the sprays a little bit laboured, but Xantares on the site. It's still a 2 versus 2. Henu's doing everything. Henu does more than that. 3 kills, a hat-trick for him. All around the obelisk. ENCE will take the slight advantage on that CT side.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous little retake there from Henu. His pathing around that pillar is godly. And with that, ENCE do still win out the half, despite being at a heavy disadvantage come that final round. After Snappy goes down, I thought for sure it would be Eternal Fires, but I tell you what, Brandon, I want ENCE to come back into this one. I want to see a 3-mapper because, I mean, we've missed 3 mappers since the first day we've casted together, and I think there is no better time than a consolidation final as exciting as this.
What's scary kind of about these rounds, you can never predict which way they're going to go. It feels like a roller coaster every single time. Really good nade stack on the way in by ENCE. As soon as the utility is thrown in by Eternal Fire, it's completely telegraphed that that's going to be the final destination. You start to see Emor take more space out towards dark, swinging on towards Snappy, Xantares with another. But the sheer numbers and the sheer firepower of Henu ensures that ENCE will take the slight lead.
Yeah, but the half is as close as you like it. 8-7, often eluded in this tournament. That's where we stand on the likes of Anubis. All things considered, a very solid CT half from ENCE there. It's a side that a lot of teams have been struggling on, but Henu really came into his element, and now he's one of the players I want to be looking out for. As I do quite like this addition to the maps. We've got ourselves an Inception television screen. Regardless now, round number 16 ensues. Can Eternal Fire win back a pistol round, or will it be ENCE to take a double, serving Eternal Fire a taste of their own medicine?
Look at the dual Berettas. They are so close. A Major has pushed the A extremity. That's the opener, but there's more to come. There's more action on this B bomb site. Emor needs to be cleared here, needs to be dealt with, otherwise it's going to be a really rough watch.
Yeah, Calix holding down Madden, gets a lovely one-tap with the Julies. Henu, hero of the previous, finds one back, but Emor is there with his dastardly Julies. He's done it on Vertigo, he's done it again here at Eternal Fire. This is their pistol round to lap up, immediately equalising the scoreline as we sit 8-8. And ENCE not going to be too happy about how that one went down.
Yeah, for sure, and that's ENCE just walking straight into the Eternal line of fire, right? It's Major getting aggressive over towards A, and then the hit truly comes in over at B. The dual Berettas do the rest. It's 4 kills of the dual Berettas.
And I saw in an interview that the players were saying the Julies need to be nerfed, and I'm slowly starting to agree with them here. The dual Berettas have had so much impact in the pistol rounds of this game, Brandon. As xFloud, oh, that's an overextension perhaps, as Diha catches him out. He does drop a Molotov before he dies, trying to cover his exits, but Diha ensures he exits this round early, and he's looking for even more. Major lucky to still have his head, but Xantares does at least trade things out.
Major dropping the smoke, might be overwhelmed because D has picked up that Famous, but the spray's good. As Xantares is here in close proximity. Regardless of whether that bomb site was overwhelmed, the actual C4 is all the way back in towards middle. ENCE look to reset after conceding the ground. They're trying to scramble these rotations. Try and provide opportunity elsewhere. Look at Eternal Fire. Just look at the lineup that they have right now. It's 2 over towards B, 1 over towards A. There's a massive hole in mid.
Yeah, we've not actually seen much mid-taking from either of these T sides, and as much as ENCE is very fresh, Eternal Fire, they did have Xantaras go in there about twice. One of them decapitate Sunpius, but they've more been using their utility to isolate it. ENCE, though, they've got some util, but they'll be looking to expend it over towards this B bomb site. It rains on down. There is presence here, but Calix has been cut off behind a screen. It forces him forward in tandem with Emor. The time is running out here, and with Snappy going down, they might be afforded a bomb plant. Oh, Henu, very lucky to be alive there. Will be swung upon by Emor in a moment's time. And as much as they do get the bomb plant down, which is a small win for them. Oh, Henu, that's a much bigger win. A 1D onto the head of the aggressor. Xantares now does cut down the youngster in the end, leaving Sunpius in a near unwinnable 1 versus 2 clutch. Does fire through the smoke, lands a perfect shot onto Xantares. Sunpius, oh my god, he's done it with a Glock through smoke. He's forced Calix forth. They've traded places. Is there still enough time for this defuse? I think there just might be. By god, that gets messy though. Sunpius, what an incredible effort.
Yeah, what a recovery there. Not only by ENCE in making it a 1 versus 1, but by Calix. Has to go aggressive, wants to try and overwhelm this sniper. Oh my goodness me. Nice shots from Henu. That first one is spectacular, but the second one as well. Sunpius tries his very best. It is so close. It's these fine margins that are really dictating the outcome of these rounds. Eternal Fire's economy, though, is left very honest.
Yeah, my goodness, Henu, a big part in that. A salacious 1D coming through after he punches those digits in. Emor was just so blind dancing around that pillar. Did not know what hit him. It's now, again, aggression from Eternal Fire. This is not something that ENCE was doing very often. But Calix, he'll find the opening frag. Major completely blindsided by the fact that some players are still on the staircase, though. And that does leave a big gap in their defenses. Nobody guarding Dark. And I think just in the nick of time, xFloud arrives on B. But that's an MP9 from the backlines. And oh no, Sunpius! He's just cut off their entire offensive.
He's inadvertently bought time for Eternal Fire to rotate over, but Emor overextends. Henu with a free haircut to him. xFloud now stepping in with the MP9, dancing around the pillar. He's found 2, but Henu strikes for 1 more. 2 versus 2. And Calix, he's rotating in from Dark, and Henu is so aware. Stepping up when it matters most. Bomb now planted Xantares, thrown into the 1 versus 2. And Henu repositions.
Henu, an absolute hero, looks to lock down again. A ridiculous round. It will be Madden to find the final frag, but look at the smile from that youngster. That's the sign of a youngster finding their confidence. It's clear the Face It Pugs had more of an effect than we would have anticipated, Brandon.
I mean, look at this.
Oh, it's so clean.
Target selection is really on point for Henu, and the presence of mind to go searching and deal with Calix. It gets a little bit scary if he drops the bomb there in that scenario, but it does not matter. His aim prevails, and he enables ENCE to get another round. And we saw the bias coming into that one. It looked better for ENCE than Eternal Fire, despite them losing the round. And suddenly, Eternal Fire are now going to be reduced to, well, the bare minimum.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Eternal Fire right now, and they're spurned into a tactical pause. Again, an animated coach behind them, but he tells them to keep calm. Do not let the pressure get to you. Their arch nemesis in Bad News Eagles is waiting for them in the grand finals, and I know for sure that EF want another crack at them. It is, what, the 4th time now that they've lost to them on LAN in a row? As it's really starting to mess with their heads, but they've qualified for the RMR. They're looking now to make it to this grand final and find further success in what has been a stacked week for the Turkish squad.
That's if they can get there, though, because ENCE are looking really formidable. And as mentioned, the buy is incredibly weak for Eternal Fire. Snappy looking to potentially press the issue. Xantares trying to lock down mid with the 5-7. 3 players are stacked over towards this B bomb site based on the conditioning that ENCE has set. And Henu, oh, it was his job to try and hold down the line. The bomb's actually quite overexposed. Madden will at least trade Emor and regain the ground.
Yeah, this looks a lot more convincing now for the likes of ENCE. At least the trade comes through, and look at the amount of space they've gained off the back of it. Madden in for a saucy double. These Eternal Fire scrambling. Keep the rest of their pieces, but as I say that, we do still have Major pushing it down CT. Xantares is with him. Are they actually going to go for this retake? Well, some bias removes the FAMAS from play. And now it's a bridge too far for Eternal Fire to consider. But although he does go down first in this round a little early, I think this is the best performance we have seen from Henny all tournament. And if he can keep this up going into the end of this map, and should ENCE be able to take it the next, he's going to be a real problem for Eternal Fire, as he has been already on Anubis.
Yeah, it's been a real team effort for ENCE, but Henny has been finding a lot of opening kills and then just transitioning them into multis, which has really helped ENCE get these rounds over the line. For Xantares, it's a good save if he is managing to reclaim that M4. Loss bonus is going to start to build up for Eternal Fire. This round won't be the investment. It might just be some pistols surrounding the M4, but after that, that's going to be the gun round. But ENCE move first on towards double digits on Anubis.
Yeah, very solid performance from ENCE there, and a nice recovery from Madden. As they're not quite as emotive as Eternal Fire when they regain the lead. I like that though, I like their composure. They crack a wry smile when necessary, as their confidence speaks for itself. Eternal Fire on the flip side, no doubt having flashbacks to their Forza escapades, have a single A1S to deal with a very prominent rifle buy. In fact, Snappy sticks to the MAC-10 here, looking to farm up some cash because he knows just how bad the nature of Eternal Fire's economy is. Unfortunately, is met by the only man with a rifle there. The Sunpius is swift to trade, and the rest of this round should be fairly smooth sailing. A major frag from Major, though. Nicely done on the 5-7, as he looks to loop up with the rest of his teammates. And look at the information they're about to gain.
This could even facilitate a very quick flank, or they're going to split the difference. Emo with the rifle actually heading over towards A just before the hit comes in is very clever, because now you're going to have the two pistols coming in on the back lines and start to make their move. Major tucked in behind the bomb site. Emo takes first contact.
Oh, this is not looking good for ENCE now. The Molotov won't even be enough to flush out the IGL. Madden does get another frag, but they're planting, and they don't realize he's here. Perfect trigger discipline there from Major. Madden completely isolated, and the IGL of Eternal Fire. It's 3 on the 5-7 to dismantle a gun round for the likes of ENCE. Immaculately well played. And that is really going to sting the ENCE side.
And this kind of feels a bit like deja vu. It was on Vertigo with the MP9s that Eternal Fire found the success. And again, on a mishmash buy, it's one rifle. But in actual fact, it does get 2 kills, but it is all Major, who's been tucked in behind the bomb site the entire time.
Yeah, the overwatch of the bomb plant there just wasn't looking in the right direction. Not that there would have been a right direction with 2 on a very fast rear flank. And now, tactical timeout called by ENCE as they want to stem the bleeding. Definitely going to be some choice words for the coach there. Little shrug towards the end of the table, as ENCE need to shrug off the results of that round. They can't let it get to them. This is a crucial stage of the map. Now, Eternal Fire. For them, it's crucial that they convert this next round. They can't allow ENCE anything back into this. It's as much of a mental game at this point as it is about winning rounds.
This round is very important for both teams. Very swingy in its nature because it will have serious repercussions on the immediate future. Emo, this angle in towards Shrub is really dangerous as Snappy. Oh, starts to make his way forward. He's been caught off guard. Emo's got no idea. That timing is incredible. Calyx at least steps in for one more, but the smokes are going to force Eternal Fire back. That's the bomb site gone.
God, how can you be so unlucky with 2 timings in such quick succession? Sunpius was spotted there by Major as well, which is why he falls back and decides not to take that duel. Smoke slightly missed there from the CT side, but the flashbang certainly isn't from the offensive. Everybody's so blind, everybody's stuck behind this util, and as much as there is a rear flank coming in from xCloud here, and as much as Diha takes the damage, Diha goes down to Calyx's molly. Okay, this changes things. xCloud find another. Madden falling, leaving Henny and Sunpius in a 2v4. It is a dire scenario now for ENCE, but they need to cling on, but they can't. Calyx falls and Sunpius, he needs to be more than a hero here. He needs to pull off a legendary escapade, but xCloud ensures that that will be shut down. And Farmer's happy with that one.
That was a really good retake from Eternal Fire. They throw the utility forward on towards the bomb site to flush ENCE out of their afterplant crossfires. Then xCloud on the flank causes a little bit of commotion, but doesn't swing on Henu until Major throws that flash. Despite Calix getting the kill, it's all done with coordination.
Yeah, you can tell that Eternal Fire's team play, you can tell that their comms are a lot cleaner than they were yesterday. Well, they've stolen back the lead and ENCE are just on a deco round. Emor, by God, is he fast. Immediately removes Madden from play. Snappy takes a nice gulp of util damage. As Eternal Fire, yeah, they look to really lock this one down. My main concern here is that Calix has been left alone on B and is now being pressured by 3 different people. Eternal Fire, I don't know what's caused them to stack so heavily towards middle and A, but they do rotate a few players back on over. And Henu gets his jaw spun by Major, leaving us again in a fairly comfortable position. Although, I don't know why Calix is so fixated on Dark when he's being spammed on down by Sunfire. So Major alleviates that pressure, and Dignitas looks to be next in line. Lovely one-tap. And Snappy, well, I don't know what I'd do if he won this round.
Yeah, that was a lot more by the book. Everything goes according to plan for ENCE. We're now starting to see their layers of their T side. With this reinvestment, I wonder what the new variation will be. I've not really seen them explode into A too much. I've seen them have a lot of success with the openings over towards B and Dark, but mid has always been a key piece of control that has never really been acquired so far. And maybe that's a cause for consideration. Maybe ENCE could start to lean into that a little bit more, because it would catch Eternal Fire off guard, because they've not elected to go near it at all this second half.
Yeah, I think that round, the previous round, was the only time they had a consistent body towards the middle. And I tell you, we've only seen like 2 actual mid-focused rounds in this entire game so far. It was both on Eternal Fire's T side. They do have a nice boost towards Bridge at one point, but the only sort of notable round is when Xantares one-taps Sunpius. And so I suppose it conditions them to always have to leave one person there in case there's a push, but yeah, I want to see a bit more from ENCE going down Bridge.
Yeah, it really surprised me that we haven't seen too much focus towards middle, because I think it acts as a really good lever to really disrupt rotations. And if you can get a player in there lurking late, such as even Henu or Madden with the entries moving forward, I feel like that could be a really key piece of the puzzle. This time Emor goes aggressive. Henu caught off guard. That's the opener for Eternal Fire.
Yeah, speaking of key pieces of the puzzle, Emor certainly has been one throughout this entire series. Xantares, though, that's a very nice spam from Sunpius. Catches the star player completely off guard. xCloud, though, speaking of star players, some of his flanks in this series have been god tier. As the flash looks to be so as well. But Madden has just phased through the B site smoke, found a completely open bomb site. And look at the presence he's brought himself towards CT here. Emor, though, might put a spanner in the works as Sunpius flashes himself on through and flashes Emor off the angle. But Madden, he's going to be so prolific at dealing with rotations here. But apparently the rotations won't be coming in his direction. Instead, it's Dignitas to deal a killing blow. xCloud falls, and now Major unable to go and aid his teammate on this retake until that threat is dealt with. I love the proactivity again from ENCE in this round, and they've just won it out completely.
Yeah, that's really nice from Madden, because it's so difficult, especially on the bomb sites of Anubis. Once you get the control, you need a further piece. You need another key primary zone to really take away and restrict Eternal Fire, because you can retake from so many different avenues, especially on that B bomb site. You've got Dark, B main, 2 from CT and Temple, just to name a couple. So the fact that Madden gets aggressive, he walks through the smoke, he wants to try and cut off rotations before they can even come in, enter through the spawn, is a really nice adjustment. There's a lot of space being taken by ENCE. And now the game, it is closing once again, ever so closer. Just 1 round between these 2 teams.
Yeah, I like the way that Madden shows that smoke no respect either. Eternal Fire, they got a bit too comfortable, as they won't be looking to make that mistake again. Snappy could be ready to receive an HE, but does back off behind the bridge. as it is a slower pace here from ENCE again. Henu not going to be whacked in the face by Emo early doors this time, as a deadly game of dodgeball is engaged upon by both sides in dark. Nades rattle on through, and Snappy rattled down to 65. Good impact from that HE. Calyx receives a bit more, but Snappy, he's gone down low off the back of it. A further barrage ensues, but speaking of barrages, ENCE looking to burst onto this B bomb site with a split, it seems. They are expending a lot of util without taking much presence for it at the moment. That could well be about to change.
There's a lot of Molotovs that could be thrown in here for ENCE. But there are 3 defenders here, and they are really close together. They can all swing in tandem off the back of contact. And who's taking the initial? It's going to be Major. Really good. Smoke again deployed. Maybe going for another boost. Major fully blind. Calyx is just through the smoke. It's ridiculous. No one can see a thing. But Eternal Fire is somehow getting these kills. Bomb gets planted. Retake can ensue.
Yeah, Xantares plants himself behind the back pillars as well. Sunpius on the bomb site. Goes for a swing, but Calyx will deny him anything. It's a 2 versus 4 for ENCE here. They've done it before. Can they do it again? Diha whacks the head off the IGL of the opposition, but they're both falling back into dark here as Util follows them through. Emo's covering the angle, taps the bomb. Snappy swings and the Orpa misses a shot. Oh, and Snappy doesn't miss that second one though, but it will still be the round for Eternal Fire as it becomes a mess on the bomb site. But a 2-round extension for the CT side. This is a much cleaner looking Eternal Fire than we saw, especially against Forza, than what we saw from them yesterday. The ENCE just let too many advantages slip in tandem.
But that was a really nice attempt. That was a 2 versus 4. They were both stuck in towards the narrow choke point of dark, and they were just fighting themselves out from the corner. They knew the bomb was planted for them. They could just swing on the audio cue, and it just gets down again into a 1 versus 1. It keeps the economy honest, but at the same time, Eternal Fire is starting to pull away a little bit. That's 13 rounds on the board, 3 away from progressing to that grand final and eliminating ENCE.
Oh, and Emo eliminates Diha very, very early on. Still a minute 35 left on the clock. And that's another man advantage that ENCE will be forced to win back. Look at the util. Just 1 Molotov on Sunfire's here as Emo does miss a second opportunity, but he's going back for more. Misses another flick, but oh, that no-scope is going to be brutal. Sunfire and Madden, they look to overwhelm, and they do so in style as that bomb site is now well and truly theirs. Madden might even catch Antares here as Eternal Fire. The catch in this next round will be their economy.
Yeah, again, the B bomb site. ENCE know that they are exploiting it. And even if Eternal Fire are winning the rounds, it comes at a very heavy cost each and every time. They know that if one gunfight goes their way, they can snowball it. That's exactly what happens here. It's a 4 versus 5, and yet they still completely swarm the defenders. Sunpius an instrument in making sure that this one falls into ENCE's favor, and Madden yet again taking the space, preventing Xantares from even getting involved in the fray.
Yeah, Sunpius not just nifty on an AWP, but he's a rifler too, as he continually demonstrates. He's not quite had the star-powered performance as he did yesterday, but his impact is still immeasurable. It cannot be overlooked, as Snappy won't be either, but Xantares isn't able to pluck that frag, as he's instead plucked from the server. Open rifle shining through for the likes of Sunpius. The Henu. He's been a little absent for the past few rounds. Let's see if he can farm up some of these weaker Eternal Fire investments to get some confidence back in his system.
He doesn't really need to be honest. He can just let the team work. He's won some very valuable rounds. Has very significant impact into this game. Bomb on a little bit of a retrieval mission. Sunpius has scooped that one up, making sure that Eternal Fire haven't pushed in towards mid whilst he's vacated it. Bomb will be planted, and Eternal Fire won't go for this at all. It's going to be 13-13, and ENCE look to be in the most prominent position to force this to a third.
Yeah, they let it slip through their fingers in the second, the opportunity for a 2-0. But Madden's confidence is on full display here. He sits 20 in 16 as Xantares 12 in 18. We've not seen enough from the star player for Eternal Fire, which seems to be somewhat of a reoccurring theme on Anubis here. And Emor as well. I mean, in that last round, especially, the AWP just missing too many shots as the bomb site was overwhelmed.
And that's kind of the story that we've been presenting all throughout this tournament, right? The desk has been highlighting the very highs of Eternal Fire and the lows, the inconsistency, not just within the results, but within the roster. Calix, for example, had a very lackluster Vertigo, is now performing top of the team for his side on Anubis. Xantares looked really good on Vertigo, and now is having a little bit of a rough one.
Yeah, he was an absolute kingpin in that first map, but his place has been taken on the opposite side of things by Madden. Anymore, it's a nice consolation frag in towards middle, I suppose, but it'll be of no consolation to them that they have, what, 3 USPs, a Deagle and an MP9 in round number 27 of our second map of this consolidation final.
If you're ENCE, you just want to make sure you don't fall victim to these rifles. I say rifles, it's an SMG. It actually rings out and eliminates Snappy. Emor looking to be a little bit more aggressive. ENCE have bled far too much in some of these rounds before. However, they are grouping together. The trade spacing looks really good right now as Calix a major full, separated by the utilities. Xantares will burn alive. And xFloud, all he can really do is just try and go for some extra damage on the SMG.
I mean, the pistols made it a little bit expensive, but the problem is ENCE's economy is almost set till the end of the game. Deha, lovely readjustment. And that is ENCE stealing back the lead from Eternal Fire. The Finnish org looking to make this one interesting as their star youngster continues to have big impact. Nice Molotov there. As Eternal Fire, well, they look to bring the heat back up into this one, as they will be afforded another gun round, and they desperately need to win it. This is, again, the most important swing round of this final so far.
Yeah, and you're right, ENCE have got a lot of money, so they can even drop the MAC-10s and upgrade themselves into AKs just to make sure that they put themselves in the best possible position to try and secure. Fist bumps all around for Eternal Fire. You can see on the screen there, and Saw is just making sure that everyone is on the same page. ENCE have looked a much better variation the entire way through Anubis. Rather than working their way back, trying to come back into Vertigo, instead, they've been consistent throughout the entirety of this second map.
Yeah, as much as Eternal Fire do get a little bit of a streak together, it is still closed out at the end of the half. Going into round number 15, but in round number 28 here, we are heading into the home stretch of Anubis. Which one of these two teams will be sent home, though? We're on land, so that phrase has even more weight behind it. Xantares, though, needs to have some weight in this round as Madden. Oh, he meets the full brunt of an M4 spray there from a little bit of an absent Xantares, but that is huge impact in round number 28. Again, puts them in good stead for a potential equalizer. xFloud, what a swing onto Sunpius, and even more dastardly, that's the bomb dropped.
That's a rare miss from Sunpius. And it might cost ENCE. Henu, Deha, reset. At least they can tick the first side quest off. Bomb scooped up, and they are grouped together. No flashbangs to enable them a little bit of space, a little bit of breathing room. They're going to have to make sure that they can trade themselves out. D has spoken off the position. Calix taking first contact, but again, that buys time not only for rotations, but xFloud just to sit in behind the shrub the entire time. Calix still fighting tooth and nail. Deha can't overwhelm him, and that's when xFloud will swing. Henu gets chips down all the more, and Major will finish the deal. Eternal Fire will tie up the series once more.
Yeah, they are not looking to let this one slip away from them. They have played far too much Counter-Strike over the past 5 days to let this one go to a third map. Mirage, such a puggy affair. Under normal circumstances, I reckon they'd thrive, but you can already see the tiredness setting in. ENCE, though, a reinvigoration. Hopefully they can ride that momentum. We find ourselves for the second time in this series at a 14-14 scoreline. And another vital swing round presents itself to us. xFloud presented a flash to the face, but turns away now as he plays anti-Sumpires, though. The antithesis of this Eternal Fire side. Looks to chime on in for an opening kill. Won't be afforded one. Look at how tentative, cautious both these teams are. Nobody wants to be the first to give up an opening kill.
You don't want to overextend. You don't want to give either side an opportunity. Another flashbang, just trying to split away ENCE from this choke point. They are gathering. They're going for this. It's going to be another B execute.
Calix, at least his Molotov will delay, but that's a brutal shot. Sent straight into his back. He's lucky to be alive. That was an AWP shot from Sumpires. Calix decides now to take further presence towards Dark to ensure he won't receive another cruel blow to the behind as xFloud no longer pressured upon as ENCE have changed their minds, it seems. They're still stacked up heavily towards B, but that time is ticking on down. They're scared about a flank, it seems, as look at where Madden's watching with the bomber here, but there is no flank to speak of yet. It will be a 5v3 towards this bomb site. Dia drops a smoke and a flash to try and spurn Calix into perhaps an extension, but it's not going to happen. xFloud, though, will it need to extend this kill feed blue. Pfizer first, Henu falls, Madden trades, and Sumpires further. Calix does at least fire on back, but Madden, he is prominent in this round beyond any other, as ENCE look to be the first onto 15.
It's utter commotion, Xantares and Emor, and Emor has the utility. Needs to try and set up Xantares, but there's so many players in this 2 versus 3. Snappy in Dark, Sumpires holding the angle, throws Emor into a very difficult situation. Will find the trade, and the conversion onto Madden. Snappy, unknown, in towards Dark. Smoke obscuring the vision, but time, it is running out, and Emor's got doubt in his mind. He doesn't know where Snappy is, but he finds him, and he's got the defuse kit as well. Eternal Fire on the brink of eliminating ENCE.
Oh my god, the 1v3 clutch coming in at the perfect moment. AWP shot, hot swap to the A gate. He lands everything and wins out the mind game to find that final kill. I cannot believe that ENCE let that one slip through their fingers. Oh, dearie me. Eternal Fire, I can't believe they've done it again. This one really is coming down to the wire. ENCE again left to fight for an overtime.
That's immaculate from Emor. And now ENCE really need to start this resurgence. One round dictating whether they stay alive in the series. 3 in towards the water, the nades. It does trickle down a little bit further, but limited damage onto them.
Oh my goodness, I'm still reeling from that previous round, Brandon. ENCE shoot themselves in the foot by losing a 1v3 clutch to Emor. What a round for Emor to come truly alive in. As Calix is looking to take a few lives to his tally down towards Dark, he's again stuck in a difficult angle. His teammates have been providing good support for him so far. They've been keeping him alive as that nade takes away a couple more life points from the likes of ENCE here. Calix further util expended as he finds one to Vitaly on the spray. Major another. Major doubles up. Sumpires, he keeps up the good fight, but xFloud! 2 more to Vitaly! And with that, Eternal Fire steal away the last round of this consolidation final. Back-to-back 16-14s, and that is a ridiculous way for them to close it out.
Revenge is normally a dish best served cold, but it certainly won't be in the grand finals because Eternal Fire are here to play against the Bad News Eagles. We can't come away from this rivalry, and commiserations to ENCE because they tried so hard to work their way back on Vertigo. It was consistent throughout Anubis, but at the end of the day, the stand-in buff could not prevail, and Eternal Fire keep on building on their momentum.
I suppose cruelly, Madden did predict a 2-0, but unfortunately it goes against him. Eternal Fire, they didn't even seem that confident. I mean, in the pre-game, they were talking about how they were having their woes in the camp. They weren't feeling their absolute finest today, but that was a fine performance come the end of it. In fact, quite dandy indeed. As Emor, I still can't believe he pulls off that clutch, but regardless, Brandon, any closing thoughts on that one?
I don't want to say any more. Congratulations to Eternal Fire. Parla, what's going on? Let's break that one down.
I'm not entirely sure what we've just witnessed. I guess it's just easiest to say Eternal Fire are moving through to our grand final here at CCT Central Europe Malta. Finals brought to you by Game Malta to square off against BNE. ENCE finish in third. Guys, oh my God, the green room just now.
Where do you want to start?
The green, because that was. I'm not trying to be in any way disrespectful or whatever, and I know my knowledge is nothing compared to the players, but that was a frustrating watch. Eternal Fire, they're picking into Anubis, right? And we've been talking about it, and they don't look that good on it. And that was kind of the case once again, that was such a scrappy win. And Emor, specifically, what a trajectory over that map for him, because he was struggling, at least in the second half, and he was missing some absolute cities. Then out of nowhere, the guy makes an epic match-winning, well, not literally match-winning, but it sort of set the momentum. An insane 1v3 in the penultimate round.
I mean,
that is a super muddled explanation, but yeah, a lot going through our brains right now, and we're going to try and break it down.
I mean, the end of that map was like driving past a car crash, and you just can't look away.
Look, okay, I'm going to try and do my job now properly, and give some structure to the conversation for you guys. So, Eternal Fire get the win here, but why are they picking Anubis when their games are scrappy and they don't look that good?
Here I do kind of see the logic, because you're playing a team with a stand-in, but now we've seen multiple Anubis games. Their CT side suck. They're really rough. There's so many really bizarre situations. They need to talk through some of these afterplans, particularly over towards B, and they constantly put themselves in positions where they might have numbers on a site, but the setups are so disjointed, there's so many gaps. I guess A side's not too bad for them, but the B side is just a nightmare.
It's chaos when they start getting attacked there. Freddie, can you talk a bit more about this? Because from my perspective, when I'm watching Eternal Fire and the way they're going around this map, you wouldn't think it's a map that they're picking. You'd think they're playing on the opponent's pick. They don't look that comfortable. The way they come around angles and the way they hold angles together, it doesn't look like a map where they have that much structure on yet.
Yeah, completely. And especially if we're targeting that B bomb site, they just felt so lost and so uncomfortable 24/7. A map like Anubis, you have to gamble stack. It's really hard to retake. It's very similar to Inferno in that manner, so I guess they have a little bit of help there, as Inferno's one of their best maps. But you have, it was continuously, they'd be in a setup, and fundamentally, it could have worked, but then they move out of the position. They leave Calyx by himself in cave, for instance. They have a crossfire with that shouldn't be used at that space, and every 10 seconds, someone's moving around. They seem constantly uncomfortable, and Eternal Fire, I think, going upon Alan's point, they probably picked into this not because they're comfortable, just because ENCE are yet to even win this map. I think they're 0-6 now on Anubis. They're really struggling on this map, and Eternal Fire, they get saved by him or here. It's this clutch on the screen right now. Yeah. He shouldn't have won this. He shouldn't have been allowed to win this. And without that, ENCE should be right now heading over to Mirage.
That was such a beautifully played clutch as well, because he gets those first 2 frags, and his first guess is that what is the area where Snappy was smoked off? The exact call out for it. I was calling it the cursed corridor.
The cursed corridor.
Yeah, so, and that's his first thought, that Snappy's in there, and then he even starts spraying into it. He goes, then he goes for the defuse again, chucks the molly to the outside area, and I think in a way that made Snappy quite confident in the fact that he'd done the runaround on Emor and made him feel confident enough to just walk through the smoke. But Emor, luckily for him and Eternal Fire, was second-guessing himself, was watching the smoke, and took Snappy out. Amazing clutch. All right, up on screen now, Eternal Fire on the left, ENCE on the right. A tough second map for Xantarez. Again, we need to give props here too, but just when we were watching it, the things that were standing out to us the most were the issues and the negatives for Eternal Fire. For instance, Xantarez, some of the positions he's playing on this map, they don't look super suited to him. He doesn't I don't know.
I don't think
how to explain it super clearly, but
I think a lot
it's what we were referring to. So maybe Alan, you can expand on.
Yeah, well, I don't think a lot of the CT spots suit them really at all. They don't feel like Emor when he's AWPing on B. It's not a one we can get a lot of aggressive duels and then move around. and he doesn't seem to enjoy it when he gets forced back. And then Xantara's in mid. I've watched them now for a couple of months playing this map, and it looks exactly the same every time, where Xantara is just so committed to trying to get jewels, and that might work if you're playing Connector or Mirage, but it doesn't work on mid on this map. And if they were playing teams that had more solid defaults and all the options for taking mid control, I think you get absolutely brutalized.
The scoreboard's gone now, but if you remember, it was, I think, a pretty good kill spread. And, like, ENCE were doing a good job. What were, if anything, the biggest faults for ENCE across Anubis?
I mean, it's hard to look past the asterisks of the standing situation, especially on Anubis. And now that we have confirmation,
even when he's having a decent individual performance,
he was great.
He
He was great on the CT side, but yeah, I mean, fundamentally they had no scrim experience, and Henu probably hasn't played a great deal of Anubis, I can imagine, at a close to a professional level. So I think for them it was just a bridge too far. Even with their full lineup, Anubis would have been really tricky, I think, in this tournament. So yeah, they just didn't have the map pool, I guess, to take it to Eternal Fire in this series.
And of course, our 1xBet player of the match is Emor. He was actually the standout player across the series, despite struggling at points on Anubis. And of course, he made the huge clutch that sent them to the victory. Well, it was in the penultimate round, but it was the nail in the coffin for ENCE.
Yeah, it's actually very impressive to look at someone like Emor, who is objectively quite struggling and looks a little bit uncomfortable like the rest of his team on B. You were saying he doesn't like to be forced back, and he's still able to provide. He's still able to produce something that's quite significant, and that's something you've got to give him props for. However, we saw him yesterday against BNE be one of the main reasons why they weren't able to close it out in 2, and today he was yet again showing some flaws. They're going straight up against the Kosovars straight off, like right again now. If they're going into that grand finals, we can't see him dip in and out of form. We're going to have to see a little bit more consistency, and that's one thing that scares me a little bit, because you have Xantara's dropping on the scoreboard there. BNE are probably looking at this right now and thinking, you know what, this is not looking like an Eternal Fire that is super, super solid.
Alan and Freddie, enough from us for now. I'd love to hear from Eternal Fire themselves, and luckily for us, we've got Veracity down on the floor with Major.
Well, congratulations are in order once again for yourself and the team, Major. Now, obviously, you've made it through to the grand finals to FaZe versus BNE, but we'll dive into that a little bit later on. My question for you, though, is that Vertigo map. Okay, everything started out great for you guys. You started out with a 6-round lead over on the T side, followed by a 10-5 half in your favor. However, after that, it seemed like a little bit of a downward spiral. We saw ENCE win 8 back-to-back rounds. What kind of started to crumble on the side of yourself and the team?
Yeah, like you said, we start very well on T side on Vertigo. Then after we win the pistol also, I think, on CT side. But then we lost force by the economic system in CSGO actually. When they plant the bomb after the pistol, it's advantage T, so it's a difficult round, to be honest, to deal it. Most of the time we lose it. We need to find a solution about that. After that, we lose, like you said, 8th round in a row. I think we lack of adaptation. I think we need, as a team, to communicate better and to find solution faster, and it's sometimes on me. So I have to focus myself individually and also in this solution. Today CT side was a little shaky, T side was okay, but CT side was shaky. We're fighting, we are not giving up, so for me it's very good things as a team. We are fighting until the end. Very close score the both of map, so but I'm proud of my team, I'm proud of them, and now we will get this revenge against BNE.
It will get there with the revenge eventually. You guys have actually ended up playing BNE 3 times thus far in the entire CCT, twice of which was during this event alone. Now we go in for the 3rd time's a charm, who knows? There we go, we've got Devil Walk cheering him on the sides as well. But Major, we kind of noticed on your Vertigo in particular, once again, it almost seemed as though there was a little bit of fear coming in from your team, almost as though, you know, people weren't peaking when they should have been, weren't necessarily trading out kills. Is this a common theme that we're going to kind of hope to see, not really hope to see, but coming out from yourself and the team?
We need to be more cold blood, like I will say like that. We do mistakes, to be honest. We do mistakes. We need to fix it. It's starting by communication. Like I believe with work and with a lot of theory, we can fix that. This team has potential for me. We just need to work and fix these little details, like to say the overpicking, sometimes not moving, because CS is a reaction games. Individually, when you give your best reaction, it's make the round win. So we lack of reaction sometimes, wrong reaction. But I think with times and work, we can fix that. I believe that. So yeah, we're gonna discuss again. Every match we lose or we win, we watch it, so we can learn of it. It's important for us. So yeah, like you said, we need to be more confident.
So does that mean straight after this game, as soon as I let you go, you guys are gonna focus and rewatch that game, or will you not necessarily have enough time for that?
Usually we do that, but now we have only 2 hours. We need to eat. We are, like everyone know, it's been 1 week we are here. We have a big marathon. We play a lot of tournament, two tournament in the same time. We play, I think in 4 days we play 20 matches, like 7BO3 and 7BO1 on Open Qualifier Major, CCT, everything. So it's a long marathon. We are here. We will do our best tonight. It's the last match before Pro League. Yes, a Pro League in 2 days again. So we will give our best. Now we're gonna rest, eat, focus, speak about what mistake we did, speak about plan again our games again BNA, and we're gonna go full focus.
Now, just before I let you go, I know you must be absolutely exhausted. One quick question about your Anubis in particular. We kind of saw a little bit more of a slow play style from you guys over on the T side to kick things off at first. And then I think there was a certain point where Calix whipped out the MAC-10 and, you know, that aggressive play style started to shine through. At what point was it that you guys kind of noticed, you know what, this passive, slow play style running down the clock until 20 seconds before pushing a site isn't the way to go against a team like ENCE?
Against ENCE, I like to play slow, to be honest. In Inferno, when we won them, Inferno also, I like to play slow. But to be honest, yeah, you need to make some fast play also. So the ones you speak about the Mark 10 Calix was the Irish. We have an Irish. So I call the Irish. I don't know how many people it was there, but for me, Ena, the academy player they have, it should be alone in my when I analyze it. So that's why I call an Irish. But usually I try to play slow, accelerate the tempo, replay slow, make some fakes. I like to make our game plan as rich as possible. I don't want to play only one play style, rushing, or only tactic. Sometimes I want to make it rich, like faking, execute, nading, double fake. We did a B rush fake, then again execute. So I try to make it as rich as possible, and that's all.
Wow, amazing stuff for yourself and the team. I'm going to let you go, grab some food, rest up, because it's a long day. BNE versus Eternal Fire is our grand final here at CCT. Back over to you guys.
Thank you, Veracity and Major. Look, let's throw some positives out there for Eternal Fire. A top 2 placement is huge, and if we're going on from what Major said, we definitely cannot doubt the commitment, the grit, and the determination of this team. They have been grinding. They've been grinding here at CCT. They've been grinding in other tournaments when they've not been playing here. Like, these guys have been putting in a shift this week.
I mean, they've lived and breathed Counter-Strike for the last 5 or so days, and I think it will come across quite negative what we're saying about this team in a lot of these segments, but that frustration comes from because you can just see how it could work.
Yes,
you can see how in so many situations they're playing great. I actually think Major does call a pretty good game, and I really like this team a lot more now that he's part of it than the stretches they had last year where they had in-game leading going between Emor and Woxic and Xantares, and it's just like, this is not a long-term solution. So that's why we're frustrated, because we can see how this can work. I look at their Anubis and I say, T-side looks great. They're calling so many different rounds, and on the CD side, they're just dropping the ball time and time again. So that's the deal right now with Eternal Fire. They could be a lot better, and that's why we're going to come across a little bit negative.
Yeah, Eternal Fire though, regardless of their individual play, you can't not look at the fact they've made Pro League. They've made the RMRs. They've made top 2 minimum at this event. That is really, really impressive from a squad that was losing and failing to have an identity, has come into this year and has straight away come out the gate swinging. No matter what, you have to give them some sort of respect for that. And I think they are looking and shaping up to be a very good a very good team going into this year, especially from, you see Vertigo, Xantares, and Immor. We saw the potential that they can have. Calyx and Anubis was playing super well. We put him in a head-to-head against Manon. Manon had a great game, but Calyx was that much better, and he's the edge in this squad that's going to push them over the line.
Alan and Freddie, thank you for your thoughts. Would you like to say anything about the upcoming grand final before we go to a break? We've got BNE versus Eternal Fire. Alan, starting with you.
I'm going to stick by my prediction that Eternal Fire is going to win this tournament.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just, as much as they might drive us crazy, as much as I always feel like they're going to let me down, they just about get it over the line, and I think in this final they will get their revenge.
Freddie, anything that you'd like to add?
Before I add about the final, I do want to say, Hino, great performance. As an Academy League player, he's came in with 15 hours notice. He's had a really, really respectable tournament, especially in that last map. He had an unreal 3K in the last round of the first half. I have to take off my hat to him. I really am impressed by what he's done. But, as you said, looking at the finals, this is now the 5th time in 4 months that these two teams have played up against each other. Best of ones, best of threes, on LAN, online, and Eternal Fire have never broken the curse.
Is this the time,
If there was ever a time to do it in the grand finals of the CCT first ever LAN we have, this would be the time. Eternal Fire finally break the curse. I'm kind of down for it. I kind of back it.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing storyline. That grand final will be coming up later. The scheduled time is 7:30 p.m. CET. Grand final, bad news, Eagles versus Eternal Fire. Alan, you'll still be joining me, right? Freddie, that was your last segment. Would you like to say anything else before we go to our break?
It's been a pleasure. And Devil Walk, if you win, you know what to do.
Okay. If you don't know what that means at home, I guess you've just got to stay tuned in.
I have very complicated job, but I love simple things so much. One move, one push. One touch. One love. One click. One expert.
Trying to get the skin of your dream for a long time but can't get it in any way? On our website you have a unique opportunity to get your favorite knife. Users on our site can hand out skins themselves, and participants need to fulfill some simple conditions. For example, watch a video or buy a case on our website. After that, you automatically become a member of the distribution. Go to the user giveaways tab and do what you like. Hellcase.
And let's introduce our second guest, Regali, formerly of Game Agents or Fnatic Rising, now playing in Copenhagen Flames, absolutely tearing up the scene right now. They've been playing super well. They've won some of our tournaments.
Hello everybody watching this.
You guys are playing an obscene amount of games.
Trained a lot, we practiced a lot.
Were you a bit worried after you joined? And
he was one of the main reasons I really wanted to join Copenhagen Flames. Right now I became strong with Rifle as well.
The thing is, it sounds like you're continuing to expand your game.
We are playing way better in officials.
How do you find time to practice? You guys have obviously been placing super highly in these events consistently now.